Hello and welcome everyone down to Holmes Convocation Center in Boone, North Carolina. I'm your host, Ruby Leggat, here with Gracell and Callihan, where we are bringing to you a spring volleyball game for our App State Mountaineers, who are up against the UNC Tar Heels. So, Gracell, and this is a spring game, which means the lineup has changed some since we've last seen the App State Mountaineers. Who's someone you're looking at for this game?
Well, something to point out is that seniors like Lulu Ambrose, Sierra Huntley, Lauren Hutchins, they're all gone now. So Izzy Perkins is the new recruit that we have for App State. Izzy Perkins is a four-time first-team all-conference selection. However, what gets me is she's a two-time all-conference selection in soccer as well.
Incredible.
So she is a multi-sport athlete. She's also a defensive specialist, so we'll be watching her in the back row today. In fact, she doesn't get the start today, however, someone that I'm looking for App State today.
6. Yeah, so we're getting it started. It looks like we've got both of the starting rosters on the court right now. App State immediately serves it and goes off one of the Tar Heels for the first point of the game going towards the Mountaineers.
That was actually Izzy Perkins, so my bad.
There you
she
go.
did get the start.
There
she
you
got
go.
the first serve of spring season matchups.
And Perkins serves it again. It goes up. The Tar Heels hit it over, and it bounces off of Addison Heidemann for a point to Chapel Hill. We're 1-1 now.
Yep, that was Chelsea Thorpe right there. She had 290 kills last season, so definitely someone coming in with experience on the outside.
Most definitely. We have number 24, Haley Pierce, for the Tar Heels serving the ball. We go up. Kennedy Roper digs to get it back over the net, and it's another App State point.
Elise Marshall is your freshman all Sun Belt freshman of the year. So
Yes,
she had
she
so
is.
much success and was a huge help when Maddie Smith went down with an injury early in the season last year. Elise Marshall really stepped up and filled in big shoes for App State.
We have Maya Winterhoff for the Mountaineers serving the ball. It goes up off of Kennedy Roper, Julia Bollinger for the Tar Heels, who they get it back over the net, and a Mountaineer hits it out of bounds. Oh, no.
Tar Heel.
A Tar Heel hits it out of bounds, That's a point. So it's now 3-1 for the Mountaineers. Maya Winterhoff serving again. Up, and Haley Pierce for the Tar Heels hit it over, but they hit it out of bounds. So it's now Mountaineers are 4-1 up to start this game.
There are two back-to-back hitting errors right there, both just too much power in each one. Thorpe on the last point just crossed it too far across court. And then that last one was number 22, Sophie Hampton, who just hit it too far out of bounds by the line judge.
Winterhoff serving for the Mountaineers. Up, it goes off of Bollinger. The Tar Heels are keeping it up. There was a fight for it, and they attempt to hit it over the net. It does not go over the net, so it's another point for the Mountaineers.
Absolutely. That one hit the antenna on that one. In volleyball, if you hit the antenna on the net, that is counted out of bounds because the hit is going too far wide. And the blocks, it's just not fair to the other team. They can't block that much of the net, so it's out of bounds.
Winterhoff serving yet again. Going up. The Tar Heels get it over the net, but it looks like there was a net violation on the Tar Heels, so it will be a Mountaineer point.
Yeah, just silly mistakes right there. We've seen the Chapel Hill, now that's their third error so far. They're giving these Mountaineers points, letting Maya Winterhoff go on this service run right now. Also, Maya Winterhoff, not someone that you want to get heated from
Not
behind
at
the
all,
service line, because
no.
then she'll get heated from the net as well.
Winterhoff serving the ball for the Mountaineers. Up, Bollinger. And there was a great play by the Tar Heels. They're getting another point. Sadie Swift, number 7 for the Tar Heels, hitting it over the net, getting it just in. So the Tar Heels are now up to 2, with the Mountaineers still leading at 6.
It's something you have to watch from the Tar Heels today. They have experience. They know how to play from down behind. They went out in the first round of the NCAA tournament last season to Penn State, the champions, but I'll add more on that in a second.
Bollinger serving for the Tar Heels. It is hit up by Roper. Elise Marshall hits it over, but it is saved by the Tar Heels. They get it back over the net, and it seems they hit it just out of bounds, maybe.
So it tipped off Ava Leahy's hands on the block, and Chelsea Thorpe was able to get the kill in the back corner. But as I was saying about Chapel Hill, they went out first round in a 3-1 duel to Penn State, who ended up winning the NCAA tournament last season. So let's just say these Tar Heels have experience.
Most definitely. The Tar Heels serving it again with a nice a hit over the net by Kennedy Roper for the Mountaineers. There was a little bit of a battle to get it over there. The Tar Heels hit it back over the net, essentially spiking it. Roper attempts to get it, but it hits the ground. So that's another point for the Tar Heels.
That was Jackie Taylor beating Izzy Perkins to the dig right there. And what I saw right there was some Mountaineers, Kennedy Roper and Elise Marshall, comforting Perkins and saying, hey, no worries. This is a tough team for your first D1 matchup.
Bollinger serving it for the Tar Heels.
Great pass.
Absolutely keeping it in, and we get it. That was a great, I believe that was a block by number 7, Ava Leahy, partially, or she tipped it right over the net.
I want to give credit to Izzy Perkins right there. She bounced back from the play before, made an amazing dig that was able to set up Ava Leahy perfectly for that play.
Elise Marshall serving it for the Mountaineers. Gets it over. It is shot up by Bollinger for the Tar Heels. Roper gets it, and it's hit over the net for the Tar Heels by Bella Hutchins, but it seems to have gone out of bounds, or there's an argument over the play. So a win out of bounds. The Mountaineers are not happy about the call on that play, as the Tar Heels are gaining on them now with the score being 7-5.
Addison Heidemann was looking for maybe a replay there, but I'm not sure we do that in spring games or not.
Thorpe serves it for the Tar Heels. The Mountaineers get it back over the net with a gorgeous hit by Ava Leahy for the Mountaineers, making up for that Tar Heel point in the last set.
That is that classic Ava Leahy slide. It is so good. When Ava Leahy slides over from her middle blocker position to the right side, that was something that was unstoppable last year. And in my opinion, a huge credit to the success of the offense for the Mountaineers.
Farthing serving it for the Mountaineers, hit over the net really well by Sophie Hampton for the Tar Heels to get them another point. It's going back and forth.
Absolutely. Sophie Hampton took advantage of Ava Leahy being late to close her block with Heidemann on that. And it is something when you're playing these high-caliber teams who play at such fast speeds, you have to get your feet there and set, or otherwise the Chapel Hill Tar Heels will take advantage of it.
Most definitely. Sophie Hampton serving it for the Mountaineers. The Mountaineers pass it around a little bit, and I believe it was Elise Marshall that hit it over to get that point for the Mountaineers.
Absolutely. Again, Elise Marshall, a ton of success last year, improving to show that she's advanced. That was a hard angle to hit from. Kennedy Roper set her that from backcourt, and so Elise Marshall had to be patient and wait for the ball to come over her shoulder to hit it.
Roper serving for the Mountaineers. The Tar Heels ready for it, getting a hit, but the Mountaineers block it to send it back over the net. Tar Heels pushing it around, and a tip over the net by number 24, Haley Pierce for the Tar Heels will get the Tar Heels this point. The score is now 9-7.
Smart play by Pierce there. You don't always have to hit a home run each time and drill it to the floor. So just a little tap over the block there where you just beat the seams and where there are no defenders on the floor.
Jackie Taylor serving it for the Tar Heels. The Mountaineers passing around, get it over. An amazing hit by Maya Winterhoff gets that straight to the ground on the Tar Heels side for the Mountaineers to gain that lead yet again. It's 10-7. Mountaineers leading right now.
That is your first team all Sun Belt Conference middle blocker right there. Maya Winterhoff, the face of this App State women's volleyball team, and led the team in hitting, kills, hitting percentages, all of it last year. She's our offensive queen.
Addison Heidemann serving it for the Mountaineers. It's passed around on the Tar Heel side, and they do get it over the net to get that point. It's 10-8. It really is going back and forth right now. If one team scores, the other team follows.
Absolutely. Mountaineers profiting off of those 3 errors early on from the Tar Heels.
Barrett serving for the Tar Heels. It is put up, and an amazing hit from, I believe that was
I think it was Bella Hutchins.
Bella Hutchins for the Mountaineers, but it goes out of bounds.
Yeah, Bella Hutchins doing a great job at touching those high hands on those Chapel Hill blockers right there. The ball went out of bounds, but it touched the block before it did. Therefore, Mountaineer point.
Izzy Perkins for the Mountaineers serving. The Tar Heels get around a tip over the net, and Kennedy Roper cannot dig quick enough to get to the ball, so that's another point for the Tar Heels. The score is 11-9.
Kennedy Roper just a little too late to that tip right there. Carolina seeing that Mountaineers are ready for their hitting attacks. However, just finding a lot of success by just tipping it over. And a lot of times as a hitter, that's almost easier. So definitely probably enjoying the easy kills right now.
Haley Pierce serving it for the Tar Heels. Maya Winterhoff tries to get it over, but a gorgeous block from the Tar Heels. The Mountaineers passing it around, attempting to get that point. Another just amazing block by the defense on the Tar Heels side gets them that point. So it's now only 1 point difference. The Mountaineers leading 11-10.
So those were blocking assists by Sadie Swift and Chelsea Thorpe right there, moving from the middle and back and forth to the outside and such. And they did a great job at shutting it down to where neither Bella Hutchins or Elise Marshall or Maya Winterhoff could get anything over the net.
Haley Pierce serving for the Tar Heels. Mountaineers attempt to tip it over, but again, the Tar Heel defense stops it in its tracks. Elise Marshall hits it over the net, but it goes out of bounds. I don't believe there was any tip from the Tar Heels on that play, so now we're tied at 11.
11-11.
11-11. We have 1 minute and 15 seconds left in this, or never mind,
No,
I forgot. It's
we're not in
11-11. It's not basketball
anymore.
season. Okay. The Tar Heels serve it over. Mountaineers trying to get it at least with another hit over for the Mountaineers. They're going back and forth. Going back and forth. The Tar Heels have it, tipping it up, trying to get that hit. Someone's trying to get a point, and it comes from number 77, Chelsea Thorpe, on the Tar Heels. The Tar Heels, this is their first lead of this set so far.
Absolutely. Addison Heidemann and Izzy Perkins talking about that miscommunication that they just had there. Addison Heidemann creeped a little over to her left in the back, just in the back floor of the court there. And so when Chelsea Thorpe went up to hit it, it was very easy for there to be a miscommunication between those two players.
Definitely.
Because they were so close to one another. So something to definitely watch out for.
It really is, and you can tell that while Chapel Hill started off a little bit slow, their defense has definitely made it so that they can take the lead in this game so far, because the Mountaineers were finding all the holes, but as the Tar Heels got comfortable, their defense has really, really shown out.
And also their hitters. They're making smart plays. They noticed that their hits were being blocked or their hits were going out just a little off. However, they noticed there was a hole right behind the block where the defenders for App State weren't creeping up and covering. So they were just tipping it right over the block. And that's a perfect spot on the floor that if you can get it right behind that block, a lot of times there's no one there because you don't need to cover right behind a block because the window isn't there in volleyball. It's not what the defenders are worrying about. So it is something, it's why you have to stay on your toes so much in volleyball. But sometimes it's just such a hard angle.
It does, yes, most definitely. And you can see Kennedy Roper for the Mountaineers, who's our libero today, is really trying to fill those holes, but one person cannot do everything. That's not how it works. So that's something the Mountaineers are definitely going to have to watch if they want to get the lead off by winning this set.
Absolutely. Kennedy Roper, 352 digs last season, averaging about 3.14 digs per set when your Mountaineers won first in the East Division.
Woo! Let's go.
Yes, absolutely. Unfortunately, it was an early semifinal Sun Belt Conference tournament exit to Texas State, but the West Division for the Sun Belt just looked so good last year.
Amazing.
So only so much you can do.
Indeed.
However, excited to see these Mountaineers play this upcoming 2025 season.
Haley Pierce serving it for the Tar Heels. The Mountaineers setting it up, possibly slowing it down a little bit. You can see that number 10, Bella Hutchins, tried to get that hard hit over the net, but again, the Tar Heel defense blocked that. But it seems that the Tar Heels hit it out of bounds.
Yeah, they blocked it out of bounds, so it was such a good block again, and it was Chelsea Thorpe and, was it Sadie Swift? So that's looking to be a very just huge wall for the Mountaineers to pass.
Yes, and Maya Winterhoff serves it, but it goes out of bounds.
That's what happens when you're a hard hitter, man.
It does, yeah. That's how it goes.
It's hard. It's tough life, you know? She's dealing with too much strength.
Julie Bollinger, the libero for the Tar Heels, serving it off. And it hits the net.
It's a little thing.
It
in
is.
NCAA volleyball.
It's the thing.
If one team misses, the other team also has to miss.
It's required.
It's how it works.
It's a rule at this point. So we've got Elise Marshall serving it now for the Mountaineers. It's 13-13, so still tied. So teams are both trying to fight to get that lead. Marshall serves it over. And like we were just talking about, number 22, Safi Hampton for the Tar Heels hit that just empty center part of the court on the Mountaineers side to give them the lead, 14-13.
Safi Hampton averaged 2.7 kills per set. So she is someone to just really have to watch. That whole Chapel Hill offensive line is so aggressive and successful.
Thorpe for the Tar Heels serving it. The Mountaineers get it back over the net. The Tar Heels now fighting to get it up. Elise Marshall hitting it up. A tip over by Bella Hutchins. And that is a point for the Mountaineers. It seems there was a possible dig from one of the Chapel Hill players to try and get that ball, but they just could not make it. They're tied again at 14.
So what we're seeing right now is Coach Noble for the Mountaineers is talking with her team a little more directly. She's able to move around the floor in these spring games, which is something you're not allowed to do in actual regular season games.
Farthing serving it for the Mountaineers. The Tar Heels try to tip it over again, get the hit. It does not work for the Mountaineers. Mountaineers also tipping it over. A lot of very, very soft movement. And an amazing dig from number 5, Caroline Farthing, for the Mountaineers to save it. But another killer hit from Sophie Hampton for the Tar Heels to give them the point.
That was almost popcorn going back and forth on each side. It was just like little pass, kind of crazy dig, tap it over. Was Chelsea Thorpe proving to be a huge component in this game as she's playing all around on the floor for Chapel Hill.
Most definitely. The Tar Heels leading 15-14. A serve from Sophie Hampton. The Mountaineers kick it back over the net, and then Haley Pierce for the Tar Heels just hits it over. And it's, again, they're gaining in a lead right now, 16-14.
No, overpasses is like a hitter's what they want for breakfast. You see that? And that is just a perfect hit. It is like, it's a place where the setter can't even put the ball.
Sophie Hampton serving it for the Tar Heels. They go back and forth very quickly over the net. The Mountaineers get it back over the net. Slight movement and a hit from Haley Pierce. It looks like it almost went out of bounds, but they're going to give it to the Tar Heels. It was a very, very close call for that one.
Pierce, great job working the line. She's hit it out of bounds a couple times already. However, she did a good job keeping the ball in bounds on this one.
Sophie Hampton serving it for the Tar Heels. It's 17-14, Tar Heels leading. She gets it over. Mountaineers keeping it up. A hit from Ava Leahy for the Mountaineers, but the Tar Heels send it right back over. They really, really have figured out the Mountaineers' cadence so far and are profiting off of what holes they can see.
Absolutely. Looks like we're going to have a Mountaineer timeout right here, but the Mountaineers, they're making too many errors at the moment. They're overpassing the ball, and like I said, that's what a hitter wants for breakfast. When that happens, it is so easy for the hitter to just spike the ball back over 10 times faster than they could have if there had just been a set.
Yes. And it's like the Mountaineers are trying to slow it down and gain the rhythm back again, but by doing that, they're giving the Tar Heels a chance to read them even more efficiently than they have so far. So the Mountaineers do need to speed up their play and try to get the ball over the net quicker than they have been.
Absolutely. In Chapel Hill, it's ACC volleyball.
They're
used to playing high-level volleyball. University of Pittsburgh, one of the best teams in NCAA volleyball last year, and they're in the ACC.
Yeah.
So UPitt, it's a team that they battled twice last year, home and away, and so they know what it's like to play up against the best teams in the NCAA. Like I said, they played Penn State, the national championships, in the NCAA tournament last year. This is a good Chapel Hill program built by Mike Shaw.
It really is, and they're definitely showing it so far. The Mountaineers, while having an amazing season so far for us, it is just a different level of volleyball. So this is a really good way for them to see what holes they're having by playing such a higher level team and just be able, because this team is going to show them all of the issues that they will need to work on for this next season in 2025 for App State volleyball.
Absolutely. And when you look at the teams they're going to play in the spring season, they start out with Chapel Hill, but then they're at Tennessee next week, and then the week after that they play Wake Forest, and then they play High Point. These are highly competitive volleyball programs that Coach Noble's getting her Mountaineers the experience of playing in these high-level games early on before regular season starts in the fall.
Most definitely. Sophie Hampton serving it for the Tar Heels. The Mountaineers get it back over and just barely miss it. It was a hard hit by Ava Leahy over the net, and it just went out of bounds.
Absolutely. It looked like Coach Noble wanted a replay on that. Again, I'm not sure if we're doing replays right now.
No idea.
There's a camera to our left here, but that might be the only camera we have on site at the moment.
Hampton serving it for the Tar Heels, but she serves it out of bounds. This is going to give the Mountaineers a chance to possibly get some momentum back for the team. The score is 19-15, Tar Heels leading.
Maya Winterhoff, I think, will be a key of that as she just subbed in, and she's had a fun energy today. She's bouncing around. She's excited to be playing volleyball again.
Roper serving for the Mountaineers. Chapel Hill trying to get that hit. It is blocked by App State, but that block went out of bounds.
Yeah, that was Heidemann. Props to the setter there.
Props to the setter.
She just angled her block a little too far to the right and bounced the ball out of bounds. But I'm always hyped when the setter gets up and gets that solo block.
Absolutely. That was an amazing play. Just didn't work out exactly how we wanted it to. And sometimes that happens. Jackie Taylor serving it for Chapel Hill. The Mountaineers get it back over, trying to get that quick movement, but Zoe Barrett for the Tar Heels, slams that ball back down to the other side of the court, and that's another point for the Tar Heels. They're leading right now 21-15.
And that's the setter for the Apple Hill Tar Heels as well. So both setters kind of getting some aggressive action in these last two plays.
Taylor serving it for the Tar Heels. Absolutely trying to slow it down a little bit. A hit over the net by Bella Hutchins for the Mountaineers goes off of a Chapel Hill player. So that will be a point for the Mountaineers.
Yes, Hutchins needed to find a ball there that got her a kill. She was struggling on working that line outside, on the outside position there. However, she found that cross that bounced off of a Chapel Hill defenseman there that got some momentum for these Mountaineers.
Heidemann serving it for the Mountaineers. Gets it over, just grazes the top of the net, but a block, I believe, by Maya Winterhoff gets that back over to the Tar Heel side of the net, and that's another point for the Mountaineers.
That serve was gorgeous. It
Gorgeous.
was a perfect floater that just skimmed the net. It was as close to the net as you could be. You could barely slide a fingernail in between the distance between the net and that serve. It was perfect.
Heidemann serving again. Getting deep into the Tar Heel territory. The Tar Heels hit it. It bounces off the net. It's saved by Bella Hutchins Mountaineers. It's going back and forth right now, both teams. Roper sets it up. Bella Hutchins hits it. And I believe that's a point for the Mountaineers. That was close to going out of bounds, though.
Those were great back-to-back plays to help keep momentum for the Mountaineers. And Kennedy Roper, great job switching the floor on her set to Elise Marshall to help win that point until Bella Hutchins eventually put it away on the next possession. But that switching the floor threw the Tar Heels off balance.
It did, and Heidemann is up again for the serve. The Tar Heels are leading 21-18. Mountaineers creeping back up, trying to close that lead. A block from the Mountaineers hits back over to the Tar Heel side. It bounces off a couple players. No one was sure if that ball was still in play or not, but it does end up in the Mountaineer points. The Mountaineers only behind by 2 now.
Absolutely. Great rally right there by the Mountaineers. Just went on a 4-0 run. However, Bella Hutchins almost gave that point away there. She started celebrating a little bit early with her setter, Addison Heidemann. That ball bounced up, and I think Hutchins saw it hit the antenna, which was eventually the call on the floor.
Yeah.
The Chapel Hill player passed it in to the antenna, which again is out of bounds, and that's how the Mountaineers received the point. However, Hutchins started celebrating before anyone else on the floor, and so I was over here holding my breath. I was like, "Oh no, the play's still going. What are you doing?
Don't do that, not yet." It was really close. There was a lot of bobbling back and forth from the teams right there because both of them were trying so hard to just keep it on the other side of the net in order to get that point. And the Mountaineers have slowly crept back up with that only 2-point deficit right now. That's putting them in sight of the possibility of winning this set.
Yeah, absolutely. But no announcer jinx, Ruby.
No announcer. Sorry.
Absolutely. But going on a run and making Coach Shaw call a timeout and work with his team to help regroup these Tar Heels. The Mountaineers need to help keep their momentum, even though there's a stoppage of play here. However, only time will tell.
Only time will tell. We'll see. They have been playing quicker within these past couple minutes to get up to that point deficit so they're not 7 behind. And it has worked out well, but the Tar Heels, they need to watch out. They can read them, and they're going to feed off of this energy. Heidemann serving for the Mountaineers. Gets it over the net. The Tar Heels passing it back. A tip over by Haley Pierce for the Tar Heels, and then back a tip by Maya Winterhoff for the Mountaineers. And the Mountaineers do get that point, now only with a 1-point deficit.
Maya Winterhoff doing a great job at working off middle blocker Sadie Swift for the Tar Heels there, where she tipped it to Sadie Swift's not dominant hand, and it threw her off, and her setter was already diving on the floor, and so it hit the floor with no defender there.
Heidemann serves it for the Mountaineers. A tip over the net, sort of a tip hit by the Tar Heels, and then a bobble and a fumble, essentially, of the volleyball by number 1, Zoe Barrett for the Tar Heels, gives the Mountaineers the point, and they're now tied again at 21.
Let's count that as a kill for Kennedy Roper right
there.
Like a crazy defensive kill, stuck her arm out, and kind of just got lucky with like the side spin of the ball. That it landed around like the 12-foot area.
Heidemann serving it for the Mountaineers. Getting it over. You can see the Tar Heels trying really hard to get it back over the net. A hit by Chelsea Thorpe for the Tar Heels, but it's saved by the Mountaineers. And Bella Hutchins, again, with that amazing hit that tips off the Tar Heel player to go out of bounds, gives the Mountaineers the lead yet again.
Ruby, last time we called volleyball, I got on the Bella Hutchins bandwagon.
Yes.
And I am hopping back on again. She's had 2 crucial back-to-back kills in this game so far that have helped rally these Mountaineers late in the set to take a lead over the Tar Heels now.
Yes.
As the Tar Heels just burned their final timeout of the match.
They did.
Set.
It's getting close to set point here with the Mountaineers at 22, Tar Heels at 21. It's getting more and more competitive, and you can almost see the Tar Heels scrambling with how aggressive this Mountaineer team has suddenly just come out of that timeout a minute ago and just become so much more aggressive, and the Tar Heels have not figured out what to do with that yet.
The mental side, when you get late into these sets, and especially early sets like this, when you do have your fresh legs, are so crucial in staying in the moment and forgetting about that last play. If I'm Coach Shaw right now, I'm breaking down to my players, don't look at the score right now. Take this like literally touch by touch, play by play. You don't want to get in your head about this and let maybe like Ava Leahy run a slide on you and that catch you completely off guard because you're not ready for that middle blocker to slide out of position.
Yeah.
So Coach Shaw right now really trying to regroup the mental attitude of this Tar Heel team, and we've seen them do it several times in NCAA play in the past. Again, a high-level ACC team right now. This is what they're expected to do, to rally back when they don't have momentum late in sets.
It definitely has. They've just made some very small mistakes that have cost them points so far, and they do need to rally that back up because the Mountaineers are benefiting right now off of all the mistakes they have been making. Heidemann serving it for the Mountaineers, coming back into the game. Over the net. The Tar Heels, a gorgeous hit by Haley Pierce for the Tar Heels, but it seems to have been blocked by the Mountaineers and become a point.
Yeah, this is Mountaineer point right there.
Yes, Mountaineer point. So that's 23-21. Heidemann serving it again for the Mountaineers. Tar Heels trying to get it over the net, and they do with a very nice hit from Chelsea Thorpe for the Tar Heels, putting them back to only a 1-point deficit. Mountaineers leading 23-22.
I think that was Sophie Hampton, but back row attacks coming in with a heat as always.
Zoe Barrett for the Tar Heels serving it. It's going back and forth over the net. A gorgeous hit by 77 Chelsea Thorpe. There was a block from the Mountaineers, and it seems like that block went out of bounds. So it's going to give the Tar Heels that point. They're now tied at 23.
Mai Winterhoff staying in the face of all of these players right now. She led the team in blocks last season.
Barrett serving it for the Tar Heels. The Mountaineers getting it back over with a gorgeous hit from Elise Marshall that goes off of Barrett for the Tar Heels, and it's a point for the Mountaineers. It's 24-23 right now. Mountaineers at match point.
That was Elise Marshall right there on the kill. I think that's her 4th or 5th on the kill. Couldn't tell you, though. No live stats in the spring games.
Yes, that's true. And Izzy Perkins serving it for the Mountaineers. Goes out of bounds, I believe.
She just hit it into the net.
Hit it into the net.
You can't win them all. Nobody's
can't.
perfect.
So we're tied at 24.
She's made some great digs in her D1 debut.
She is. She's our resident freshman player for this game. A gorgeous dig from Kenya Roper for the Mountaineers after the serve from the Tar Heels. We get it back over the net. The Tar Heels trying to get up there, and they get a gorgeous hit by Sadie Swift, which gives the Tar Heels the lead right now, 25-24.
Sadie Swift doing a great job at working the seam there. She saw Izzy Perkins on the left side of the floor, and she targeted her. They know that Izzy Perkins is less experienced than Kennedy Roper and Bella Hutchins in the back floor right now.
Haley Pierce serving it for the Tar Heels. They get it over. Mountaineers moving around, trying to get that sneak, and Elise Marshall hits it, but it seems there was a block by the Tar Heels, so the Tar Heels will get that point and will win this set.
Sadie Swift, great job reading the play as Addison Heidemann tried to switch the floor and get it to her right side, Elise Marshall, but Sadie Swift read it all the way through and was there to make the block and not let the Mountaineers keep going further into this first set.
It is. This has been a very exciting set so far. We're going to take a little break, and then we will get back with you when the next set is about to start. Hello and welcome. We are back in Holmes Convocation Center for the second set of this spring volleyball game with our App State Mountaineers facing off against the UNC Tar Heels. The Tar Heels won the first set, but it was very close. What's something you enjoyed seeing from the Mountaineers in that set?
I love to see how the Mountaineers rallied back. We were down by 4 or 5, maybe even 6 points at one point in that first set. And we were able to rally back and keep our composure against a high-level team that, let's be honest, might be one of the more competitive teams that we see in the next several months, even going into the regular season of play. So to see that out of these Mountaineers, and also the crowd got into it a little bit.
They did.
It was nice to see. We've got a fan turnout today.
We do.
That helped motivate the Mountaineers to keep going, and that's something that about App State. As what we like to say in the WASU world, we're a volleyball school.
We are a volleyball school.
Football gets the hype, but man, our volleyball team went on such a rally last year, and we only lost we lost 3 seniors.
We did.
And Lulu Ambrose was a huge part of all of that. But there's a lot of this team that is still intact. So to see that they still have chemistry and we're able to work through that in the first set and almost rally back until they just got Chapel Hill got a really good block and got to play really well at the end. And Addison Heidemann the Mountaineers couldn't have done anything better there. There was just really good volleyball at play. So I think I liked what the Mountaineers did. And if they keep doing that, I think this will continue to be a competitive match.
Zoe Barrett serving for the Tar Heels to start off the second set of the game. The Mountaineers get it, but a block from the Tar Heels hits it out of bounds. So the Mountaineers will get that point.
Absolutely. Elise Marshall doing a great job. And her awareness has really evolved in her career as a Mountaineer. She's done a great job at learning how to work off of these high-level blocks, advancing from high school ball into college play.
Kennedy Roper, the Mountaineers libero, serving the ball, gets it over the net, passing around by Chapel Hill. Insane hit by number 12, Lainey Smith, for Chapel Hill with a save from Kennedy Roper. There seems to be an issue on the play.
So I think they're saying that it touched the A, which from our position, which we're off the floor, I think it still had a couple inches to go.
I agree.
But that's why they called it out. But the down ref stopped play there. That wasn't the up ref. I think we're doing a replay there.
That's what it looks like.
Coach Noble said no.
No. It didn't. It just did a little arch. It didn't quite hit it, so there's no points given to either team. They're going to replay it.
Maybe. Oh, no, I think
there's still some argument.
They gave it to the Tar Heels. Oh, no, they're redoing it. Replay.
Not a lot of
Kennedy
agreement.
Roper will serve again. The Tar Heels did not get that point.
Okay. So replaying this point so far. Roper serving it for the Mountaineers. Gets it over. The Tar Heels passing a gorgeous hit over the net by Maya Winterhoff for the Mountaineers. Lands right in a hole in the Tar Heels defense. And we get the second point. Mountaineers up 2-0.
Absolutely. Overpasses. Great way for middle blockers to get such good sets. And just pound it right back down to the ground there.
Roper serving it for the Mountaineers. The Tar Heels scrambling to get it together. There was a hit over by the Tar Heels, a block by the Mountaineers that went out of bounds, and Izzy Perkins for the Mountaineers rushing to try and save it from out of bounds, and it just does not happen. So that will be the Tar Heels' first point of the set.
Absolutely. You kind of have to think that Coach Shaw there was a little maybe upset in how quickly Coach Noble was able to kind of overturn that call.
Yeah.
I don't even know how Noble overturned that call of when it went and we thought it hit the Jumbotron. However, the refs listened so quickly and we redid it immediately. So I don't really know how we did that. So as a Chapel Hill teammate or player, I would be a little frustrated. So they definitely bounced back there.
Definitely. Malone serving it for the Tar Heels. The Tar Heels hit it over. The Mountaineers get it. A block. It's going back and forth. The Mountaineers a great dig to save the ball. No points yet. They keep going. The Tar Heels hitting it over. A great pass up. It seems so. Number 8, Izzy Perkins for the Mountaineers. She wasn't completely ready for the ball. It just deflected it, and it went over to almost the bleachers.
She kind of passed that with her cheek a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie.
It was
a little painful.
Roper serving it, or Malone, I'm sorry. Malone serving it for the Tar Heels. Roper gets it up, setting it up. A Bella Hutchins. It seems like Bella Hutchins hit it over, but it went out of bounds is what they're saying. So the Tar Heels now have the lead, 3-2.
Too aggressive of a hard cross there by Hutchins. Just it's something that she struggles with, is over adjusting her hits and just trying to stay consistent and with what works. So that's something that you see out of Bella Hutchins when she plays. And it's just kind of the younger nature of that type of player.
Malone serving it for the Tar Heels. It goes over, and it seems like Mai Winterhoff got a finger on it, which made it that third touch before they could get it over the net. Right, so 4 touches total. Mai Winterhoff brushed her hand on it, which made the play ineligible because they hit it once again after that.
Ate that up, Ruby.
Malone serving it again for the Tar Heels. And it's just in bounds. The Mountaineers did not like that call. They thought the serve was out of bounds, but it was just on the line, which if it touches the line means it's in bounds in volleyball. So the Tar Heels are currently leading, I believe it's 5-2. There says 4-2 up on the scoreboard. I may be wrong. Malone serving it again for the Tar Heels. A Bella Hutchins gorgeous hit over the net. Barron Hart for the Tar Heels just cannot get her hands under the ball to get it back over, so that will be a point for the Mountaineers.
I always love to see how Addison Heidemann congratulates her hitters. Just there, she just gave Bella Hutchins a hug right there. She was great job. You did so good. Way to readjust after making that error early on.
Most definitely. And Elise Marshall serving it for the Mountaineers. They get it over the net. The Tar Heels get it around, and it seems like the Tar Heels hit it over, and there was just a brush with one of the Mountaineer players to get it out of bounds. No, I'm wrong. The Tar Heels hit it out of bounds, so there was no touch from a Mountaineer player. So the Mountaineers are now 4-5. Marshall serving it for the Mountaineers. Tar Heels setting up a hit. It's just knocked over by 22 Sophie Hampton for the Tar Heels, and a block by the Tar Heels. And again, it's going back and forth. Both teams incredibly aggressive, yet the Tar Heels get it over the net with a hit from Lainey Smith to give them the point.
Such an impressive play in volleyball when you're able to make a hard cross across the floor and hit it inside the 10-foot line, all while doing that and having just the positioning and angle that you have to hit it as a hitter in order to make that. And it's so effective as well because a lot of times there's nobody there to cover that.
Bollinger serving it for the Tar Heels. Izzy Perkins gets it over the net for the Mountaineers, but then a just slam back down by Lainey Smith for the Tar Heels.
Bella Hutchins was laughing with Perkins after that one because Perkins did make the overpass and that was an error on her part. However, Lainey Smith got too excited and hit the ball out of bounds, but Perkins was like, "Ooh, that was a fastball coming right at me."
Farthing serves it for the Mountaineers. She gets that just hint of a touch off of the top of the net, and that sends it straight down in the middle of the Tar Heels area, which gives the Mountaineers a point. They're now tied at 6.
I like to say it's one of the best serves in volleyball because you have no idea where that ball is going to go.
Definitely, and she does it the same exact thing again. Number 2, Mackenzie Boyer, just can't get under it for the Tar Heels. It is the same play that happened last time, and the Mountaineers gain the lead off of that serve.
This is so impressive.
Farthing serving it again. Doesn't get her signature at this point, little tip on the net. But an amazing block from the defensive line for the Mountaineers. Gets it back, and that is a point for the Mountaineers. The Tar Heels keep hitting it off of each other, hitting it off of our defense, but touch it before it hits the ground on their side. So the Mountaineers are now up 8-6.
Hutchins walked into the huddle, arms out, just give it to me. Heck yeah, I killed that.
Farthing serving it for the Mountaineers. Gets it over. Easy serve. The Tar Heels, you can tell how frustrated they have been. So they did get that point with a amazing hit from, I believe, Zoe Bernhardt for the Tar Heels. So that will go to them. The score is 8-7. Mountaineers still holding on to their lead right now. Lainey Smith serving it for the Tar Heels. The Mountaineers get it back over. And a hit from number 2, Mackenzie Boyer for the Tar Heels, goes right in between the hands of Addison Heidemann up in the blocking position, and it goes right to the ground. So we're now tied at 8.
Heidemann tried to make quick work out of that overpass and try and help out her defense a little bit, but the ball went right through her hands and eventually was even more unhelpful to her defense, and they just couldn't get there at all.
Lainey Smith serving it for the Tar Heels, gets it over the net. A strong hit like we see from Bella Hutchins all the time. Gets it over, and she just hits it out of bounds.
Looking for those high hands again, and honestly, I thought she might have gotten there. However, none of the other players on the floor were thinking that. So I was like, never mind, never mind.
Smith serving it again for the Tar Heels. A grand slam almost from Bella Hutchins. Goes off of the defensive hands of the Tar Heels and out of bounds, I believe, which gives the Mountaineers that point and again ties both teams at 9.
Well, she missed the hands last time, but she drilled them this time. I don't know if the ball went over or not. There was a split second where that ball was in the air and then it hit the ground and it was a Mountaineer point.
Maya Winterhoff serving it for the Mountaineers. Gets it over. The Tar Heels hitting it straight up in a very interesting setup. Another hit by Bella Hutchins, but it is saved by the Tar Heels. They're moving the ball around. They get it over the net, just a little tap, and once the Mountaineers hit it back over, another just tap by Sophie Hampton for the Tar Heels gets it just past the heads of the Mountaineers to get that point for the Tar Heels.
Hampton leading that charge of these just tips and push balls over the net, working these empty spaces on the floor that the Mountaineers are leaving, doing a great job at maximizing the potential of those empty spaces.
Hampton serving for the Tar Heels. Elise Marshall just hitting it over the net right back to the Tar Heels and a slam back down from number 2 Mackenzie Boyer for the Tar Heels, now leading 11-9.
That's Mackenzie Boyer's 3rd kill in I think the last 6 plays. So she's averaging 50% on her kill rate
Insane.
in this set at this point on all the options that she's getting.
Hampton serving it again for the Tar Heels. Bella Hutchins tries to hit it, almost fake over her hard hit, get a soft one, but the defense for the Tar Heels gets it back over. It's just back and forth play right now, the ball going everywhere with hard hits from both teams and saves from both teams. The Tar Heels hitting it over. A really nice hit from Sadie Swift for the Tar Heels, and it goes off of Kennedy Roper for the Mountaineers, so it will be another Tar Heel point.
What's interesting about the Mountaineers right now is anytime there's an error or something like that, the communication is key. Addison Heidemann is bringing her team together for long huddles and really talking about what they can do better in the next play.
Most definitely. There was a serve from Sophie Hampton for the Tar Heels, and it went into the net, so now will be Mountaineers ball.
And what I liked about these huddles is that, Kennedy Roper, there wasn't enough communication to help her out and show her, hey, that hit from Swift is going out of bounds. And so they huddled, and they made sure to review over that. And they got a little bit extra time to do it again with that service error.
Heidemann serving for the Mountaineers, gets it over. A hit from Sadie Swift over the net for the Tar Heels, and it's saved by the Mountaineers. And then Addison Heidemann for the Mountaineers just can't get her hands under it and hits the ball into the net. So that will be a point for the Tar Heels.
I think if I could point out one thing right now that the Mountaineers need to work on, it's just their defense is making a ton of great plays, and there's just a couple errors right now with the overpasses as well as just a little bit of defensive miscues that I think we could definitely touch on.
Most definitely. We saw it right there. Boyer served it over, and some Mountaineer players running into each other. Though a great save by Kennedy Roper for the Mountaineers. Hutchins with another slam. It goes off of the hands of the block for the Tar Heels and into the stands, so that will be a Mountaineer point.
Hutchins is doing a great job right now working off of this Chapel Hill block that proved to have a lot of success against players like Maya Winterhoff in the first set. So Bella Hutchins showing some clear dominance, and even we got a Chapel Hill timeout now because of Bella Hutchins' dominance.
Because she slams it into the defensive hands every time now. That's her new strategy, and it's been working. The ball's a fan caught the ball halfway up the stands in the Holmes Convocation Center, so you can just see how much force is behind her hits to get those balls off the hands of the defense.
Absolutely, and the crowd loved it
Loved
too.
it.
Everyone got into it, was like, oh, she did it again, motioning with just the block over their head, almost like you would see it. That's sort of the version of a dunk. You essentially beat the block up, and their hands are still facing up, and you just essentially pancake it right off, and the ball just goes. It's essentially shanked into who knows where.
It's working really well, and it is impressive that the Tar Heels have had to call a timeout because they're still leading. It's 13-11, so granted, the Mountaineers are close and can definitely catch up, but the fact that they had to call a timeout at all does show that the Mountaineers have some momentum right now and are really working off of it.
Yeah, Coach Mike Shaw not letting the Mountaineers keep a ton of momentum. He heard the crowd get into it, and he said, no, I want to keep my lead. I want to keep my Tar Heels out in front and be able to run plays and just experiment with the potential of what we need to work. And it looks like Lauren Shutter is now in for the Tar Heels after that substitution as well. So maybe trying some new things out after that timeout as well to see if maybe Shutter could be the option of slowing down Bella Hutchins. Who knows what they're trying to plan right now.
Izzy Perkins serving it for the Mountaineers. And it hits the net, goes straight down, so that will be Tar Heels ball, now leading 14-11.
Lauren Shutter kind of joking a little bit there. Maybe this is her first time in since last season, and she was just ready for the play and just was like joking around with her teammates like, what, there's no ball?
A serve from Bernhardt for the Tar Heels. And this is where the Tar Heels defense has figured out Bella Hutchins. She does that insane hit that she has been doing, but they had their hands pointed down already, and it goes straight back down onto the Mountaineers side. So the Tar Heels are now up 15-11.
Yep, Tar Heels just speeding up their footsteps when they were a little bit behind from the Mountaineers' tempo.
They were. Bernhardt serving it again for the Tar Heels, and it goes into the net. So they're right there. Like we always say, Izzy hit it into the net, so does the Tar Heels. It goes back and forth.
Just the little secret of the NCAA volleyball for you.
Kennedy Roper serving it for the Mountaineers, who are now still behind, but 15-12, and she hits it into the net. So back and forth right now.
I guess if it's back and forth, it's not really doing you any harm. But for the Mountaineers, like you're down by 4, and the Tar Heels, they're at 16 right now. They're getting close to that 20 range. You don't want to be too far behind once they can taste the finish line.
Not at all. Malone serving it for the Tar Heels. She makes it over the net this time, so doing well. The Mountaineers get it back over with a nice hit by Elise Marshall. The Tar Heels scrambling to get it over, and a hit out of bounds for Lainey Smith on the Tar Heels. So Mountaineers now only leading by 3 points, with the score being 16-13.
Lainey Smith is one of those transfers that Chapel Hill brought in. She's coming out of Illinois, and she was 3rd on the team in blocks and kills with 83 blocks and 244 kills last season. So she is a force to reckon with.
Marshall serving it for the Mountaineers. Gets it over, and just a slam down from Safi Hampton. It seems like it just went directly on the other side of the net and got between the defenders for the Mountaineers and the net to give the Tar Heels that point. Bollinger serving it for the Tar Heels. Up. Nice hit by Bella Hutchins, not as hard as normal. She gets it to the back of the field or the back of the court for the Tar Heels. The Mountaineers setting up a hit, and Winterhoff goes for it, but a block by the Tar Heels will give the Tar Heels that point again. They're now leading 18-13.
That was a slide route for Maya Winterhoff. Oftentimes what we see out of Ava Leahy. Ava Leahy traditionally runs the slides on this field, and there's no reason why Maya Winterhoff can't run the slides. But it's traditionally what we see out of Ava Leahy, and she was kind of laughing a little bit afterwards how like they were there and they read it perfectly. But there's just something about Ava Leahy's slide that she's just so quick in getting her feet set on those slides.
Yeah.
That she is up in the air before the other team's defense can even notice it. And we saw right there, Maya Winterhoff just kind of dragging her long legs across the floor a little bit. Just didn't quite beat the block, and Chapel Hill was able to read it, but I don't know. I giggled a little bit at that. I haven't seen Winterhoff run the slide too much. It's always something that Noble calls for Leahy, so I thought that was funny.
It was interesting. They tried it, and I mean, this is spring volleyball, so essentially preseason almost for their upcoming 2025 season, and so this is a good time to see those things from all the different players, see who thrives in what position or thrives doing specific things for the team, and maybe that's just hasn't worked out. So now they know, that's how it goes.
And to go off your point, no better way to try it than against a team like Chapel Hill.
Exactly.
With so much experience in reading against high pay, even faster teams than App State, just from ACC competition. So a great way to try out new things against a team that really probably sees everything almost at twice the speed in their traditional conference matches.
Most definitely. Both teams are coming back onto the court now. It'll be interesting to see if this break, because it was called by the Mountaineers, will have any effect on the Tar Heels' momentum, or if it will bring more momentum for the Mountaineers to try and switch up what's been happening so far. So as we come back in, just a reminder, Tar Heels are leading 18-13, and their libero, Bollinger, will take the serve. Bollinger gets it over the net. Mountaineers slightly discombobulated, but a tip over the net by Maya Winterhoff gets it going. Tar Heels back over. A gorgeous save by Izzy for the Mountaineers, but I believe it was a kill over the net by number 12, Lainey Smith, for the Tar Heels will give them that point.
This is around the point last set that we saw the Mountaineers rally back and make it really interesting in the final points of the first set. So it's going to be interesting to see if the Mountaineers can try and take away any momentum that Chapel Hill has right now.
Bollinger serving it for the Tar Heels. They get a gorgeous dig from Izzy Perkins for the Mountaineers, but the other players just can't play off of it. So the Tar Heels are now at 20 with the Mountaineers following at 13 points.
This is, again, another huddle that we just saw right there. Addison Heidemann really taking the leadership role on this team, and it's something that we haven't seen in the past in App State volleyball. Addison Heidemann bringing her Big 12 experience from Iowa State and leading this team to say, hey, this is a fast-paced game, as Chapel Hill gets another ace right there, but this is a fast-paced game. She's doing it again right now, but it's okay, guys. We can do this. We are a talented team.
We can, and that ace right there for the Tar Heels just seemed to be miscommunication on the Mountaineers' part, with Izzy Perkins and Kennedy Roper both standing in about the same spot and just did not know who was going to take that serve to get the play started, and it bounced off of Izzy Perkins to give the Tar Heels that point. The Tar Heels are now 21-13. This is not something that the Mountaineers are wanting to see in the second set when the Tar Heels are already up one.
No, not at all. Not to mention 2 service aces back-to-back as well. That's something that really, when you're trying to figure out kinks in your defensive back row and you can't even get a ball up off of the serve. And so Julia Bollinger, the libero for the Tar Heels right now, is taking full advantage. And she knows exactly how to read a defensive back row because she's commanding her own back row for the Tar Heels right now.
She is.
So as Kennedy Roper right now is someone who I want to see help out Izzy Perkins right there, as well as Elise Marshall is also in the back row right now. What can you do with those 3 players right now to rally them together and break this serve that Julia Bollinger has right now?
Most definitely, and you can see right now the Tar Heels have that energy right now. They were coming out back onto the floor with 30 seconds left in the timeout. They didn't feel the need to use that full timeout, so that's something the Mountaineers are definitely going to have to watch as Bollinger takes this serve as we come back into the game. Bollinger gets it over the net with Izzy Perkins right there to receive it. A nice tap over the net by Maya Winterhoff, with the Tar Heels responding with a hit over by Lainey Smith. And another, I believe that was Elise Marshall hitting it over the net, and the Tar Heels could not get to the ball. So that will be a Mountaineers point.
Absolutely. I think it might have been even Maya Winterhoff out of the middle
my
blocker position. But also like leadership right now, rallying their team while they're down by 7. Maya Winterhoff and Addison Heidemann coming together as the 2 seniors on the team to push this team forward.
Caroline Farthing taking the serve for the Mountaineers. The Tar Heels get it back over. Lainey Smith trying to get that nice hit, that like what we see from Bella Hutchins, but she hits it out of bounds. So that's another point for the Mountaineers, with the score right now being 21-15, Tar Heels leading.
Good read by Kennedy Roper. She didn't even budge when she saw that ball was going out of bounds. So good job by her.
Farthing serving for the Mountaineers. The Tar Heels tip over from Lainey Smith, and then a responding one from Maya Winterhoff with the block. There's another tip over. It's just back and forth. Right now the Mountaineers trying to get the ball. They get that very classic Bella Hutchins hit over the net. To me, personally, it looked like possibly a tip off of Lainey Smith, but that's not what they're saying, so it will be a Tar Heel point.
All the numbers are switched up on this game, but number 22, I'm not even sure who it was. She just shrugged to her coach. It was like, hey, that might have been me. I don't know.
The Mountaineers, Smith serving it for the Tar Heels, and a gorgeous save by Heidemann for the Mountaineers to keep the ball in play. Bella Hutchins doing what she always does. A great, very strong hit over the net, bounces off a Tar Heel player out of bounds, so that will be Mountaineer point. The score is 22-16 for the Tar Heels right now.
The defense has really rallied together right now for these App State Mountaineers. They did a great job reading off the Sophie Hampton hit, who is number 22, found out. They did a great job readjusting to this out-of-system ball.
Maya Winterhoff serving it for the Mountaineers. The Tar Heels, a gorgeous hit, or attempted hit by Safi Hampton, but a block from the Mountaineers, and they just did the same play again, and the Mountaineer defense could not block it. So that will be a point for the Tar Heels. The Tar Heels getting close to game point, with the sitting at 23, with the Mountaineers at 16.
And an interesting decision right now by Coach Noble. Akila Hardy is in for the game now instead of Ava Leahy, who got a block on that last possession.
Safi Hampton serves it for the Tar Heels, but hits it into the net. So the Mountaineers will get a point off of that, and they will get the serve. Scored 23-17. So the Tar Heels still most likely feeling very comfortable with where they're at in this set so far. Heidemann serving it for the Mountaineers. Over the net. And a gorgeous kill over the net by number 2, Mackenzie Boyer, for the Tar Heels. So they are at game point right now, 24-17.
Bollinger's done a great job with her Tar Heel defense, rallying her back row to really have a great service response to all of the serves that App State has proved in all.
Boyer serving it out of bounds for the Tar Heels, so the Mountaineers now at 18, and they will have the serve.
Kind of an ironic sort of back and forth there. There's been a ton of service errors by the Tar Heels. However, their service defense is incredible right now, and they've been able to run a lot of quick plays just off of 3 touches, and then they end the play and earn the point immediately. Like, the Mountaineers don't even have a chance to come back because they get a kill.
Yeah, there's some delayed time right now. The Mountaineers taking out Caroline Farthing to put in Izzy Perkins, who will take the serve for the Mountaineers. She gets it over the net. Tar Heels setting up a play, and they get it. The ball bouncing right off of App State's defensive hands will allow the Tar Heels to win that set.
There were some interesting substitutions there late in the set that I saw by Coach Noble, and 2 were very young players that she put into the game to see how they would react. So the first one was Akila Hardy. Akila Hardy didn't see a lot of time in games last year, only appeared in 2 matches and made a block versus Kennesaw State early before conference play. And she put Akila Hardy into that situation against Chapel Hill late in the match and said, hey, I trust you. Now go out and make a play. And she went out, made a block, and was encouraging her team in the huddle, which I thought was very optimistic to see out of Hardy after we didn't see her a lot at all. And she's coming into her sophomore year. Yes. Another one there that I saw was Izzy Perkins. Having her go in behind the service line late in that match on set point, I thought that was incredibly just like the fact that Coach Noble saw so much potential in to put, who was it? I just lost her name.
Izzy Perkins?
Izzy Perkins, thank you. I lost my momentum on my spiel. But to have Izzy Perkins go behind the service line instead of Caroline Farthing, that was very interesting because Perkins is the only freshman on this team right now. And so putting a lot of faith in her younger players late in the set there to help rally her team back forward.
It is. It definitely is. And Perkins has not been the most successful with serving so far. So putting her in for that very ideal serve where if she was to hit it out of bounds or hit the net, it would automatically give Tar Heels the set was an interesting decision. And personally for Izzy, it did pay off. And it is. She has a lot of faith in her younger players. And you see that just looking at the roster, there's a lot of younger players on the team where Chapel Hill has a lot of older players, and looking at their stuff, they had 5 seniors graduate last year. So they're recovering from that, whereas we definitely had some seniors graduating, but we have depth when it comes to age within our team.
Absolutely. A huge senior that graduated for the Chapel Hill Tar Heels last year was Mabry Schaffmaster, and she led the team in everything offensively except for hitting percentage. She had 386 kills on the team. On the season, she averaged 3.36 kills per set and averaged 26.6% on her hitting. However, what really catches me the most off guard, she led her team by 20. She had 57 service aces. And when you see this team have so many service errors, and oftentimes is what helps keep App State in the mix against this competitive ACC team, you have to wonder right now with Coach Shaw, is serving something that he needs to focus on going into this third set to maybe wrap this up real quickly and Chapel Hill can get on the bus early and head home?
Yes, definitely is on this Sunday night. So they have class tomorrow or Sunday afternoon. But it is something to watch. If they relied very heavily on a very talented server last year, that's probably something that they do need to work on or do need to build some depth in on their roster and having multiple servers. And while their serving has been amazing, especially with Julia Bollinger for the Tar Heels, it is interesting to see the issues that they have had so far. And while the Mountaineers have had their issues, we have, from my perspective, from what we've seen so far, had more success throughout using the many servers that we do have on the team so far.
We've rallied back a lot, which I think has been very great. That's been great to see, especially against such a competitive team like Chapel Hill. To defensively be able to be in a stuck with Bollinger's serve late in the second set there, and then be able to rally together, especially with Izzy Perkins on your back floor right there.
Definitely.
You have a freshman back there rallying back, working with Kennedy Roper, and I love to see the leadership from Roper, Heidemann, and Winterhoff on the floor right there, working together to bring their team together and get that defense out of that slump.
Definitely. Perkins taking the serve for the Mountaineers. Getting it up, that was a nice serve. It made the Tar Heels almost fumble, so the backfield couldn't get their hands under it for the Tar Heels, and it made the ball off balance, so they couldn't get it back over the net. So it's a Mountaineers 1-0 to start this set off with Perkins taking the serve. Gets it over, but hits it out of bounds. She got a little excited from what happened with her serve initially beforehand.
Absolutely. It's easy to get excited and want to make overcorrect what position you're trying to hit on the floor from behind the service line, because it's completely mental. It's like a free throw shot in basketball.
Definitely is. Pierce taking the serve for the Tar Heels. Nice serve. The Mountaineers fighting to get it back over. Elise Marshall, a nice strong hit that's blocked by the Tar Heels, with the Mountaineers struggling to get it over, and it does go out of bounds. So that's another point for the Tar Heels.
That block was mainly Lauren Shutter and Erin Curtis, both a redshirt junior and a sophomore, but Shutter showing her energy right now for Chapel Hill. She's been goofing around. She's got that goofy attitude, making everyone laugh, have a fun time over there.
Pierce serving it for the Tar Heels, but she gets it into the net. So it now will be Mountaineers ball, and they're tied 2-2.
Service errors, like we have seen
really
so many.
is.
I really would be interested. Like, we don't have any way to tell you how many service errors there
No
are
live
right now with
stats,
no live
unfortunately.
stats in the spring game, but there have been several, and it's been huge in momentum switches between these two teams in the previous two sets.
Maya Winterhoff taking the serve for the Mountaineers. She gets it. The Tar Heels slightly off balance taking it, but it's hit back over the net by Chelsea Thorpe. The Mountaineers now trying to get it over, and they do. A great dig from Izzy Perkins right there. Bella Hutchins trying to get it back over, but blocked twice by the Tar Heels. And the Tar Heels, the ball went off, and it was really close. It definitely could have gone out of bounds if their hands were shifted just slightly, but it does not. So that will be a point for the Tar Heels.
So that hit was by Chelsea Thorpe, and she is someone, when we talk about who is filling in for Mabry Schaffmaster, I look at Chelsea Thorpe, and she's someone that we saw a lot in the first set, not so much in the second set, but making a clear impact in the third set of just what the potential and the future of this Chapel Hill Tar Heel team will look like.
Bollinger starting it off, serving for the Tar Heels, gets it. The Mountaineers get it back over the net. And a strong hit from Chelsea Thorpe for the Tar Heels sent it just out of bounds. So right now, it seems a lot of the errors are what is keeping this set tied so far for the Mountaineers, because the Tar Heels have been playing so well, but their errors are giving the Mountaineers the points. Marshall serving it for the Mountaineers. And number 4, Erin Curtis, who we haven't seen very much so far this game for the Tar Heels, doesn't set her hands correctly, it seems, and it goes out of bounds. So the Mountaineers now leading 4-3 with Marshall back at the serve. Getting it over the net, a nice serve from Elise Marshall. We see Erin Curtis hitting it back over the net with a save from Roper. A nice hit from Elise Marshall getting it back over. Very aggressive play, and Erin Curtis for the Tar Heels hits it right into the, what are those called?
Antennas.
Antennas. I completely forgot. Apologies. But that gives the Mountaineers another point. So it's 5-3.
Kennedy Roper, what a pass to set up Elise Marshall on that kill right there. That was a gorgeous play. Textbook volleyball.
Marshall serving it for the Mountaineers. And a missed hit by Jackie Taylor for the Tar Heels. She went up, and it seemed her finger grazed the underside of the ball where she was hoping her palm would actually hit it. And it went straight back down to the floor for the Tar Heels. So that is another Mountaineer point.
Zoe Barrett just setting her hitter a little too high on that one and just missed the ball.
Marshall serving it again. It seems her serves have been the kryptonite of the Tar Heel team to start this set off. Erin Curtis doesn't fully get control of the ball with her hands, and it just rolls right off and down to the floor.
And Elise Marshall led the team in service aces with 35 last year as a freshman. So this is something we've all know she can do.
Marshall serving it again. The Tar Heels seem to have their feet under them is slightly better, but again, Erin Curtis gets her hands and she hits the ball, but it goes out of bounds.
Elise Marshall doing a great job with her serve. unsettling this Tar Heel defense as Chelsea Thorpe kind of shanked the ball out of nowhere, and the defense had to go and run around and get it, and then just kind of free ball it over or just pass it over to our outside hitter. So it was an out-of-system ball, and they weren't able to capitalize as much on that serve and get another point for the Chapel Hill Tar Heels, and now they're down, and it's because of those silly little errors.
It really is, and you could tell that Elise Marshall, while serving, when she got it to Erin Curtis the first time and Erin Curtis made her first error so far, Elise Marshall almost trying to target Erin Curtis, getting the serve over to her more, because the errors that Erin Curtis has had so far this set is what is allowing the Mountaineers to have the 8-3 lead.
Absolutely. Great heads-up volleyball by Elise Marshall.
Very much so.
Target that player and know who to go after. I don't know how much prep you do for a spring game.
Yeah.
You just got to go off what you knew sort of last year, because these are new players. You can't prep entirely to how this team will perform. And so it is impressive to see how Marshall, a young player, is adjusting on the fly to how to target an advanced ACC team like the Tar Heels from behind the service line.
It definitely is, and both teams coming back on. I think some subs on both sides, but Erin Curtis and Elise Marshall both on the court yet again to start this off, with Marshall taking the serve. Straight back to Erin Curtis. Curtis does get it under with a dig down. Roper gets it back over for it. A nice hit from number 7, Ava Leahy, for the Mountaineers, but the Tar Heels get that blocked, and I believe goes out of bounds with a touch on the Mountaineers.
Yeah, that was actually a block by Erin Curtis. So she overpassed the ball, but then she made up for it and got her team out of that service rut.
Thorpe serving it for Chapel Hill, a dig from Roper to keep the ball in play, and a gorgeous hit again by Bella Hutchins to get that point for the Mountaineers, who are now leading 9-4.
She's really got this, like, opening up her arms like, yeah,
I did that.
I killed that. Don't mention it.
Caroline Farthing taking the serve for the Mountaineers. Gets it up over the net. The Tar Heels getting it over. A hit by Erin Curtis, very strong, saved by Roper for the Mountaineers. Bella Hutchins getting it back over the net. The Tar Heels bobbling. Another hit from Erin Curtis, and it just makes it. I think Caroline Farthing for the Mountaineers got a little tip on the ball, which with the momentum going out of bounds, so it will be a point for the Tar Heels.
Curtis really barely got her team out of that service rut, and then she's gotten the same back-to-back points trying to bring the Tar Heels back into this game in the third set.
Curtis taking the serve for the Tar Heels. The Mountaineers get it back over with a tip from number 4, Addison Heidemann for the Mountaineers to get that point, as the Tar Heels just can't get their hands under it.
Yeah, a good old setter dump. You never know when it's going to come, but
Never
it's why
know.
You have to guard the setter on the other side. And sometimes once the setter hasn't done it every now and then, you become less disciplined on defending the setter, and the setter gets a kill.
Roper serving it for the Mountaineers. A hit up by Emily Curtis. Gets it back over. The Mountaineers hitting it back over with a nice hit from Maya Winterhoff, which bounces off of, I believe, Bollinger for the Tar Heels to go out of bounds. So another point for the Mountaineers. They're leading 11-5.
It was a good old slide attack, too, by Maya Winterhoff.
It was.
Coach Noble going back to that slide with her middle blocker.
Roper serving it again for the Mountaineers. Gets it up, a nice serve, hits the top of the net, and Maya Winterhoff yet again getting that hit response from the Tar Heels, hits it right down over the net to get a point for the Mountaineers.
I love the chemistry on this App State volleyball team, because Maya Winterhoff copied Bella Hutchins' like arm raise, just went, yeah, I killed it. Like, yeah.
Roper serving it for the Mountaineers straight into the net, so that will go to the Tar Heels. The Mountaineers leading 12-6, and like you said, the chemistry has built up very well in this third set for the Mountaineers. Hudgens and Maya Winterhoff fist bumping right now before the serve from the Tar Heels.
Feeling comfortable with their lead right now, that's for sure.
Most definitely. The serve from Jackie Taylor for the Tar Heels. Hit by Bella Hutchins, and the Tar Heels hit it out of bounds, trying to save it as it heads for the ground. So Bella Hutchins continuously showing out right now.
Absolutely, and I love the energy she brings. We've talked about her arm raising, but giving Addison Heidemann a chest bump. And I think that's something that we saw Heidemann bring to this team last year, the energy and the celebration after the points, and really celebrating your success.
Heidemann serving it for the Mountaineers. A hard hit over the net by Haley Pierce for the Tar Heels, but the Mountaineers getting it back over the net. some tips happening to get it over. A nice hit by Maya Winterhoff to get it over the net with a response from the Tar Heels. Bella Hutchins attempting to get it over and hits it into the net and back down, which I believe Bella Hutchins was the third touch on that play. So when the Mountaineers recovered it, it did end that.
Hutchins also just trying to be a little too aggressive there on that hit and just didn't get the ball quite over.
Barrett serving it for the Tar Heels. It goes straight to Caroline Farthing for the Mountaineers, who had her wrist turned a little too much or couldn't get her hands under the ball and hits it straight into the ground.
It's essentially like we're watching the video right now, Ruby. You're walking us through every step.
Barrett serving for the Mountaineers. And a nice hit over by Bella Hutchins, giving the Mountaineers another point. The score is 14-8 for the Mountaineers.
I really am like missing live stats right now. I want to know Bella Hutchins' hitting percentage because she misses one and is bouncing back very quickly. And you're seeing the maturity out of these young players that had their first year in NCAA volleyball last year and have just really done a great job at bouncing back from their mistakes.
Perkins serving it for the Mountaineers. The Tar Heels attempt to get it over, but a nice block. I believe that was Maya Winterhoff and Elise Marshall together. Mostly Winterhoff gets it back over the net, straight down for another point for the Mountaineers.
Absolutely. 108 blocks for Maya Winterhoff last season.
Amazing. The serve from the Mountaineers. Tar Heels get it back over. It's back and forth right now, but a nice hit by Elise Marshall goes off the hands of the Tar Heels, which will give the Mountaineers that point, I believe. Actually, I believe the Tar Heels get that point. I think the scoreboard was behind, so it's 15-9 now. The Tar Heels have the ball.
Elise Marshall just didn't get her feet set on that point, on that hit.
Haley Pierce serving for the Tar Heels. Gets it back on, a dig by Roper to receive that, and a hit over by Bella Hutchins, but the block from the Tar Heels defense that we have seen fairly often, almost 50-50 with those Bella Hutchins hits. The response from the Tar Heels defense gives the Tar Heels that point, with it being 15-10. Mountaineers still leading.
Absolutely, and Mountaineers going to call a timeout right now to hold on to their lead. And right now we see Coach Noble talking with her setter, Heidemann. Coach Noble was a setter of her own, played at University of Kentucky, I believe, and knows what it's like. And we always see her in warm-up. She comes out and she works with her setters very just one-on-one. She works with Juliana Horta and Addison Heidemann. Horta we don't see in action today, along with Maddie Smith and Delaney Grievengood for the Mountaineers, who are still what I believe recovering from injuries of some form. They didn't play a lot last season. We saw Maddie Smith with some form of knee injury. We saw Juliana Horta with an ankle injury late in the season. And Delaney Grievengood just didn't compete at all in the 2024 season, whether I believe that was her redshirt season. So why she's not in play today, I'm not 100% sure. However, I really do like how Coach Noble runs this team, and a lot of times now in today's college atmosphere, the atmosphere that you build on your team to prevent your teams from transferring to other schools is even more important than it was before.
Definitely.
To build an environment that makes this team so unique, that the opportunity that they're getting there is honing their skills and building it, and everyone feels valued, and the environment is just so unique that you couldn't get it anywhere else. And I love what Nobles has done, and you see it on the floor with how everyone interacts with one another and how the leaders take charge, and I think that starts at the top with head coach Rumley Noble.
Most definitely. Haley Pierce taking the serve to start this off back as we get back to the game for the Tar Heels. Hits it over the Mountaineers, setting it up. A nice hit by Maya Winterhoff, blocked by the defense, but she goes at it again. It seems that there was a net violation.
Looks like it was Maya Winterhoff.
So as she went up for, I believe it was that second hit attempt to get over the hands of the defense, she hit the net. Though if she hadn't, it looks like it may have been a Mountaineers point, so fairly close.
No can do. You cannot touch the net. Nope, they said that thing is too expensive. You are not allowed to touch it.
It really is. Pierce taking the serve for the Tar Heels. Bella Hutchins with that strong hit, blocked by the Tar Heel defense, but the Mountaineers recover it. A hit over by Elise Marshall in response. The Tar Heels seeming to read the Mountaineers fairly well coming into this. Bella Hutchins tipping it over instead, but it is recovered by Zoe Bernhardt. And as the Tar Heels try to get it back over the net, a block by Elise Marshall for the Mountaineers hits it back over, and that will be a point for the Mountaineers while they are leading 16-11.
Marshall doing a great job at coming back from a few hitting errors that she had earlier and responding in a defensive way with a great block there against Erin Curtis.
Maya Winterhoff taking the serve for the Mountaineers. Up and over the Tar Heels trying to get it, and a absolutely strong just kill from Chelsea Thorpe for the Tar Heels gets them that very quick point in response.
Absolutely. That's that just quick set to, I believe, your right side. And that's what's called an A-ball in volleyball, when you just tap it over. And, oh, my gosh, it's such a fast set that you normally only see from middle blockers. And it's so hard to defend because your reaction timing has to be perfect.
Bollinger serving it for the Tar Heels. The Mountaineers trying to get it up. Elise Marshall goes up for that strong hit to get it over the net, and the block by the Tar Heels defense in response hits it right back down to the ground. So that will be another Tar Heel point as they inch closer to the Mountaineers, the score being 16-13.
Erin Curtis making her aware, like people know when she's in the front row with all of the kills she's gotten in this third set.
Bollinger serving it again for the Tar Heels. The Mountaineers setting it up for Elise Marshall, and she hits it right through the hands of the defense.
Perfect seam there. Just finding the gap between Bollinger and Pierce, doing a great job at working that left side of the floor where there was no defender.
Definitely Elise Marshall taking the serve, hits it over, gets it to Erin Curtis. Erin Curtis hits it back over the net for the Mountaineers as they rush to keep it in play. Izzy Perkins hitting it back over the net. The Tar Heels getting it over with a hard hit from Chelsea Thorpe. It goes off the hands of the Mountaineer defense and out of bounds.
Just to show you how much speed there was off of that Thorpe hit, Ava Leahy blocked it, and it had so much speed to travel to the opposite side of the floor. She blocked on the left side and went all the way out on the right side of the floor because of how much speed Thorpe hit the ball.
Thorpe serving it for the Mountaineers, and it goes out of bounds. That was a close one. You could see Izzy Perkins sort of judging at the last moment and ripping her hand away from the route where the ball was going to get that out of bounds point.
Absolutely. And Noble loved to see it. She followed the ball all the way to the line. And I know that's something my volleyball coach, that's something that she loved to see. You follow it to the line, follow it to the line.
Farthing serving it for the Mountaineers. The Tar Heels coming back with Erin Curtis, a hard hit over the net. In response, a Bella Hutchins tip over by the Mountaineers, and it goes out of bounds off of the response of a Tar Heels player. That Hutchins tipped it over. They weren't completely expecting it, expecting that really nice hit that she generally gives, and they just weren't ready for it, and so the ball went off of one of the hands of the Tar Heels.
Just great heads-up play. They're expecting the hard hit. And so she tips it because she knows that the defenders are probably habitually, they're going to be a little further back on the floor because they're ready for that hard hit. And when you tap it just over the defender, and they're ready to catch this deep ball coming deep, and they have to then change their momentum and spring forward. That's where the importance of staying on your toes in volleyball comes from.
Definitely.
This game moves so fast, especially at this high level. So it's just sometimes when the hitter just beats the defense and just outsmarts them.
Definitely. And something I do want to point out, I'm not sure if we've specified this, Izzy Perkins, the resident freshman right now, has never played a season of college volleyball. She came in as a spring recruit. So I know we keep saying the freshman, but specifically this is her first time playing in a college volleyball game, and it's against Chapel Hill. And she has been doing exceedingly well for being put into this as essentially a high schooler at this point still.
Absolutely, and I'm not sure if she's on campus right now for this spring season, if she's graduated yet or not, but she's played highly competitive volleyball before at the high school level. She was ranked top 11 in the country for nationals.
Incredible.
So she's played at a high level before and is a great recruit for this Mountaineer team and is clearly blending in very well. She has been in the depths covering under her outside hitters as she's been playing left back in this game. So she's been coming up and covering and doing a great job, but she's getting really close to all these hitters. So the chemistry there, it's great to see that they've at least built up a lot during this game. I don't know how many practices they've had together yet.
It definitely is the Mountaineers. Farthing serving it for the Mountaineers, and in response, the Tar Heels getting an incredibly hard hit. I believe it was from Jackie Taylor, excuse me, for the Tar Heels, and it goes out of bounds. So the Mountaineers are now leading 20-14. Farthing serving it again for the Mountaineers. The Tar Heels slightly off balance in receiving it, but a clutch hit over the net by Aaron Curtis for the Tar Heels will give the Tar Heels that point.
I think Elise Marshall is starting to see the repercussions of being so dominant in your
Yes.
first year, because they shut you down the second year.
They
and
do.
You become a highlight that the other teams have to prep for.
Aaron Curtis serving it for the Tar Heels, received by Roper with a nice hit by Bella Hutchins over the net. The tip off by the players, and it goes on the other side of the chairs, lining the side of the court, and the players are just not ready to launch themselves over the side of chairs to receive that out of bounds ball. So it will be a Mountaineers point.
Bollinger was a little respectful there. She said hi to some of the Mountaineer fans sitting courtside today. It was just like, hey, I'm not going to run over you right now.
Roper serving it for the Mountaineers. A responding hit over the net by Jackie Taylor for the Tar Heels goes out of bounds. It seems to be a little bit of an error that she's having. This is the second time as we've come back from the break that she's had those strong hits and they've just gone out of bounds.
Just takes a small correction, though.
It
and
does.
That ball will be right on the 10-foot line, so the Mountaineers need to stay ready on that attack.
Roper serving it for the Mountaineers as they lead 22-15. A nice strong hit over the net by 24 Haley Pierce. It's deflected. I believe that was deflected by Elise Marshall and Caroline Farthing just behind her, already on the ground in preparation for that ball, and she was just off from it. She grazed it with her hands, but it did go out of bounds, so that will be a point for the Tar Heels. Jackie Taylor serving it in for the Tar Heels. A response immediately back by the Mountaineers, and then a tip over by UNC, and the Mountaineers just can't get it back over the net. The Mountaineers leading 22-17 right now.
Good play. Addison Heidemann kind of tapping her chest like, hey, that was on me. Let's do better next time. Just taking accountability as a leader that she just couldn't get to the ball right there on her read.
Taylor serving it for the Mountaineers. Really hard hit. Elise Marshall slightly off balance when receiving it, but it heads back over to the Tar Heel side with a responding tip over. The Mountaineers, a nice hit over by Bella Hutchins, but it's blocked. Just going back and forth, an incredibly quick game right now with Haley Pierce punching the ball over the net, but the Mountaineers hit it back over as a response and get right in that middle hole of the just players on the Chapel Hill side to get that point. So the Mountaineers are 23-17 right now.
Great job by the Mountaineers. That was crazy volleyball. Each team was just barely getting the ball over. Kennedy Roper had some great digs on that play, so I want to highlight that. Keeping these plays alive. However, craziness on the floor there.
Heidemann serving it, but there seems to be an issue with the play.
Doesn't look like the refs were ready.
Yeah, it didn't look like there was any fouls or issues from the actual players or even the ball. The ball was in bounds and ready to be received by the Tar Heels, so no points were given. They're just redoing the play.
Yeah, just got to wait for the whistle.
Heidemann serving it for the Mountaineers. A strong reception by the Tar Heels. A nice hit over by Pierce, but also nice dig. I believe that was from Heidemann with a responding hit by Bella Hutchins over the net, and the Tar Heels just could not receive that.
I don't know how Heidemann made that happen. She was sliding towards the back Mountaineers logo on the floor and somehow got it over to her outside Bella Hutchins, and just a great job tooling off the block and out of bounds.
Heidemann serving it for the Mountaineers as they're trying to get match point right now, and they hit it. She serves it just out of bounds. So it's 24-18 right now. The Mountaineers leading, but the Tar Heels having the serve.
And honestly, if I'm a Mountaineer right now, I don't feel safe till that score is 25, so I want them to stay aggressive right now.
Most definitely. Barrett serving it for the Tar Heels. The Mountaineers responding with a nice hit over by Elise Marshall. The Tar Heels having to move to try and receive that, but then a just gorgeous hit over the net by Haley Pierce for the Tar Heels. Give them that point. They're moving closer to the Mountaineers. The score 24-19. Barrett serving again for the Tar Heels. Gets it over. A reception, a nice hit over by Elise Marshall, but the Tar Heels defense is saying absolutely not to getting that ball back, and they hit it back over. So the Tar Heels, again, like I said, inching closer. The score 24-20, Mountaineers leading.
It's also Lauren Shutter on the block right there, who is holding all of the energy almost for Chapel Hill.
Barrett serving it for the Tar Heels. App State getting that gorgeous Bella Hutchins hit directly into the back corner of the Tar Heel side. So the Mountaineers will win this set. That's the third set. So right now, as we look at it, the Tar Heels have won 2 sets. The Mountaineers have won 1. So as we go into the 4th set, it's going to be extremely important that the Mountaineers stay on their game and the momentum that they've built so far this set.
Absolutely, because the Tar Heels could give off that set. They didn't have to win that set. So the fact that the Tar Heels can come in maybe with maybe they rested a little bit. They weren't performing and exerting themselves as much as probably these Mountaineers have to, because the Mountaineers, they can't make any errors. Well, they can, but it definitely, if you let the points get away from them, it requires more energy to come back in this 4th set. So they have to play perfect, whereas the Chapel Hill Tar Heels don't have to. And this is when you really get into the mental game of when you're trying to come back from 2 sets down.
It definitely is. It's going to be a very, very fun set to watch. So tune back in with us. We're going to take a quick water break before the 4th set of this game starts, and we will be back with you in just a couple minutes. Welcome back to Holmes Convocation Center. We're getting into the 4th set of this game where our App State Mountaineers are facing the Chapel Hill Tar Heels, the UNC Tar Heels. So far, the Tar Heels have won 2 sets and the Mountaineers have won 1. So the Tar Heels having the advantage going into this 4th set.
Absolutely. I think it's been interesting to see when teams come out of timeouts so far today. Chapel Hill comes out of their timeout in between sets like a minute before. You have 3 minutes in between each set, and they come out a minute before.
They're ready.
Kind of are just running around, staying warm, whereas the Mountaineers stay in the huddle the whole time. So the Mountaineers just came out of the huddle, but the Tar Heels have been on the floor for about a minute and a half now at this point.
Hanging out, dancing, vibing to the music to get ready before this 4th set starts off. Seems like the Tar Heels getting the starting serve on this one with Barrett. Keep messing up that name. Barrett for the Tar Heels taking the serve. The Mountaineers responding that clutch Bella Hutchins hit, but the Tar Heels are expecting it, and they receive it well with a responding hit from number 5, Bridget Malone for the Tar Heels to start this off with the Tar Heels lead.
Okay, I don't care whatever the Chapel Hill did, whatever there. Akila Hardy just did a beautiful back set in the middle position. She's a middle blocker. She's not the setter, so that was crazy.
Bernhardt serving it out of bounds. So starting off tied, the Mountaineers now taking the serve with Akila Hardy taking the serve now. This is her first serve of the game, I believe.
Yeah, she's in for Maya Winterhoff now, I believe, at the middle blocker position.
Hardy getting a nice serve, keeping it low. And the Tar Heels hitting it really strong over the net with Izzy Perkins just barely keeping it in, getting it over. The Tar Heels hitting it again, and our Mountaineers defense just cannot get that ball back up over the net.
I think this is going to be something where you see people like Lady Smith, who have a lot of energy right now, of seeing a team that they just lost a set. How are you going to deal with their, like, want to win right now? Because they can taste the finish line.
Malone hitting it, and the reception right there from Elise Marshall going up to the scoreboard atop, like, all the way above the score. So very high, and they get it back over, and then I believe that was a block or a tip-over response from the Mountaineers gives them that point. So it's tied at 2.
Oh, yeah, that was Ava Leahy. And we don't see Maya Winterhoff a ton on the bench. However, she was hyped to see her other middle blocker get that block.
Marshall serving it for the Mountaineers, and the reception right there from Erin Curtis, who Marshall and Curtis have had a bit of a back and forth so far this game. She just can't get her hands rotated correctly, and it goes out of bounds, and none of the Chapel Hill players could get to the ball quick enough to keep it in play.
Absolutely. This is a rotation that the Chapel Hill Tar Heels have struggled with in service for sure.
Marshall serving it for the Mountaineers, just barely getting it over the net.
Oh my gosh.
And the Tar Heels respond with a nice hit, a nice kill by number 12, Lainey Smith, to get that point.
And this is how the Tar Heels have really capitalized on today. 3 quick touches, pass, set, hit, and that hit is a kill off of the service. And that's how this game has been different today. That's the biggest point because of how the Tar Heels are able to capitalize off of the service. And
Lainey Smith has really been a key for that play right there. She's been getting a lot of those plays, and as the Tar Heels serve it off and the Mountaineers respond, both teams having trouble getting the ball almost. They're nice hits over, and the Mountaineers hit it over, but they hit it outside of the antenna, I believe.
The Tar Heels are not happy right now. Looks like Coach Shaw is actually talking with the down ref right now.
So it looks like the Mountaineers, they're counting that hit over fair, and I could have been wrong. It could have been on the inside of the antenna and been a fair ball, but the Tar Heels are not happy about that call. So there's some debate right now going on between the up and down refs. Is that what they're?
It's going to be the top ref and
top ref.
Talking with the sideline judge right now. I don't think it's called top ref. I'm going to be so
ref?
honest.
Okay.
I don't know. Top down
up
ref?
on the platform.
Umpire.
Ref.
I don't know. Talked with the sideline judge who called. That's his line to make the call on the antenna, and he said, no, I didn't see anything. And
so
I don't think there's any replay. So Chapel Hill, I don't know what to tell you.
So that was a Mountaineer point, and then you had Farthing serving it for the Mountaineers, and Chapel Hill, you can tell, not happy about that call, responds with a very nice hit over the net by number 12, Lainey Smith. And so they will get that point back with the teams tied at 4.
Absolutely. No, you know what? The ball never lies.
It never lies.
It eventually works out in the end.
It does, and that was Lainey Smith serving it right into the net. So now we'll be back to Mountaineers ball.
I think these last couple plays have just kind of been volleyball, especially when you get into these late sets. Every play counts, and both coaches know that. And Coach Shaw is like, I don't want to give up any silly points.
Most definitely. And Roper serving it for the Mountaineers. The Tar Heels respond, and as they get back, there's a little tip over the net by Heidemann, but it seems that the Tar Heels have been able to read the Mountaineers very well. A nice hit over the net by Bella Hutchins that they were not ready for. She didn't do her long hit like she has been. She went straight for the middle of the Tar Heel side of the court, and she got that point.
It was a hard cross right there, and it was right at the 8-foot line. So impressive when you're able to bring that thumb down and just cross with such precision.
Roper serving for the Mountaineers as they lead 6-4. Immediate response back over the net by the Tar Heels, and Bella Hutchins serves it, but a deflection off the hands of the Tar Heel defense sends it back, and the Mountaineers tip it off to the side and out of bounds. So that's a point for the Tar Heels. The Mountaineers still leading 6-5.
That was a great heads-up play by Barrett. Just being aware that, hey, this ball's coming back over quickly because we made that overpass on that service error. However, being able to capitalize on that was huge.
Erin Curtis serving it into the net for the Tar Heels, and so far starting this off, that has been their big issue, and it has for the rest of the game. But I mean, from the 7 Mountaineer points so far, 2 of those, I believe, if not 3, have been serve errors from the Tar Heels,
which is giving the Mountaineers the lead right now.
It is. Heidemann serving it for the Mountaineers. Gets it over the net. Tar Heels trying to figure it out. A nice hit by Sadie Swift. The Mountaineers receive it. Bella Hutchins tipping over the desk on the sideline for one sideline to try and reach and get the ball, and she gets it back over. But that is a point for the Tar Heels, unfortunately.
It didn't quite get across the antenna. If you pass it over before the antenna on the left side of it over there, that is considered out of bounds.
It is unfortunate because that would have been an amazing play, and Bella Hutchins responds with this extreme hit, but it does go out of bounds.
Man, and the umpire there also overruled the line judge there. He called the ball out, and she said no. I saw a tip there on Bella Hutchins' hit.
There definitely may have been a tip by a Tar Heel, though, and that seems like that's what the judge at the net, the ump at the net is calling. The Tar Heels are not happy. I can tell you that about that one. The Mountaineers using this as momentum, it seems. They're leading 8-6 right now. We have Izzy Perkins taking the serve. The Tar Heels coming at this with a viciousness off of their disagreement with that last one. You get a hit over the net by number 7, Sadie Swift, and it bounces off of Bella Hutchins to go out of bounds.
She's doing a great job working off those hands, noticing that that block wasn't set in time and taking advantage.
Barrett serving for the Mountaineers, and it seems some communication issues there, which again between Izzy Perkins and Kennedy Roper, as there have been some throughout the game, gives the Tar Heels that point as they hit it out of bounds, as the Mountaineers hit it out of bounds. So teams are now tied at 8 with Barrett taking the serve for the Tar Heels. A hit over by Bella Hutchins, just like we've seen so far, and it is tipped off out of bounds by a Tar Heel, which gives the Mountaineers that point.
Bella Hutchins and Addison Heidemann are like my favorite duo right now on the floor. They shoved each other, were like, let's go, and then they gave each other a hug.
Akila Hardy taking the serve for the Mountaineers, gets it over, and the Tar Heels not happy with any Mountaineer lead right now. Sadie Swift especially has been that big responder as she hits it over the net, just an immediate kill over the net for her to get that point back. Again, a tie at 9 for both teams. Bridget Malone serving it for the Tar Heels. Slightly off balance reception from the Mountaineers, but Elise Marshall tanks it over the net essentially, and it goes out of bounds. It's a very strong hit as she's right up on the net, and it goes out of bounds.
Elise Marshall might be a little in her head right now too, and I think she definitely needs a play to get her going because she is so important to this team on the right side and expanding where we can attack.
Bridget Malone hitting it over. Elise Marshall with a gorgeous hit as a reception, and it bounces off the hands of Barrett for the Tar Heels to get that point. So we're again tied at 10.
Great senior leadership right there by Addison Heidemann. Saw her young teammate struggling and was like, hey, I'm going to give you another ball. Let's get you out of this funk because you play all around, so we need you in the defense too.
And Marshall serving it right into the net. So she got out of the funk for a second, possibly dipped her toe back in. We're hoping she can pull it back out, get out of it as is needed to continue playing. But it is a point for the Tar Heels as they lead 11-10.
Assistant coach Zimic also was down there trying to talk to Marshall during that, right before that serve.
And Bollinger serves it for the Tar Heels. A really off-center save by Izzy Perkins, trying to run and get the ball. And the Mountaineers just hit it out of bounds when getting it back over the net.
And that was supposed to be Leahy's slide attack right there too, which is normally super effective. However, it just seems that the Mountaineers are trying to do too much right now against this Chapel Hill team and just need to fall back into some more simple plays.
Bollinger serving it, and the Mountaineers get it back over the net, but just a hit down, straight down by Barrett for the Tar Heels. And the Tar Heels have gained the lead right now, leading 13-10.
Just overpasses. We saw the Mountaineers struggle with this in the first set. And when you overpass and you give this just such advanced offensive attack, such an easy, essentially set, like you're just asking for a kill.
Bollinger serving it, and the Mountaineers responding with that classic Bella Hutchins hit, which goes straight off the hands of the defense and out of bounds. So that is a point for the Mountaineers, using plays that they know have worked so far.
Absolutely. Bella Hutchins on the outside has been very helpful today, whereas normally we see Elise Marshall on the right side. It's been Bella Hutchins today, and that's just the perks of having such a
Farthing serving it for the Mountaineers, and when the Tar Heels respond, they get it right with a response to Elise Marshall's face as the Mountaineers get it back over the net and then return it with a block. which gets the Mountaineer point.
The entire App State bench just almost ran onto the floor for that, which I guess you can do because it's a scrimmage, but oh my gosh, Maya Winterhoff almost looked like she was just going to sub into the game.
I know a little cluster of students in the stands right now getting really hyped up, doing synchronized movements and stuff to get that support for the App State Mountaineers. Caroline Farthing takes the serve for the Mountaineers, but hits it into the net. So that will be a point for the Tar Heels. The Tar Heels leading 14-12 with Jackie Taylor taking the serve.
Oh
Another
my gosh.
absolutely clutch Bella Hutchins hit, which goes off of the libero, Bollinger, for the Tar Heels and out of bounds.
The speed and the power that's coming off of Hutchins hits right now, if your feet and platform are not set, you are shanking the ball out of bounds.
Most
and it is
definitely.
an immediate kill for Hutchins.
Absolutely. Roper taking the serve for the Mountaineers, gets it over. A really nice kill shot from Mackenzie Boyer for the Tar Heels, and the Mountaineers defense gets it and deflects it, but there's just not a player that can get their hands under it to respond.
Both teams are warmed up right now. The power on these hits is increased exponentially.
Aaron Curtis serving for the Tar Heels with, as they currently lead 15-13, Bella Hutchins tips it over, and it seems to go off of one of the Tar Heel players. Excuse me, it did not. So that tip just went out of bounds. There wasn't any touches from the Tar Heel players as Aaron Curtis takes the serve again, but the Mountaineers will call a timeout. So the Tar Heels leading 16-13. It's been very, very back and forth right now. The Tar Heels sort of figuring out the App State's plays and responding well with a very aggressive offense.
There's been a lot of errors, though, on both teams, which is, I think, why we have to credit this higher score at this point, 16-13. It's the service errors. It's the hitting errors. These teams are tired, and they are swinging so hard right now.
They are.
And when you start picking up your arm speed, the room for error it just decreases. You cannot mess up. Little adjustments, like barely angling your hand differently, is the difference between the ball staying in bounds and flying way out of bounds because of how fast you're swinging your hips and arm around at this ball.
It really is. Both teams sort of relying on plays that they've seen success with so far in this matchup between the two, and they're using those plays, but like you said, being over aggressive while using those plays, which is making them not effective or not as effective as they would like them to be.
For sure. And when you are in an App State team right now, like if I'm Coach Noble, I'm telling my team, hey, let's play our game. We've kind of sped up our game a little bit, and we're trying to play a little too fast. And also a surprise right now, Chapel Hill's nervous. This is the first time they've used their entire timeout. It wasn't even their timeout. It was an App State timeout. So I think both teams settle back in, play your game. We're getting a little frantic and maybe a little North Carolina rivalry spiking a little bit right now.
Oh, definitely. Curtis serving the ball for the Tar Heels, and that classic Bella Hutchins hit over the net just bounces off of Bridget Malone for the Tar Heels to get that point. The Mountaineers trying to inch back up to at least get that tie, with the Tar Heels currently leading by 2.
And great adjustment mid-air by Bella Hutchins to adjust to that set. That was a little off the net.
Heidemann serving for the Mountaineers. Gets it over, nice low serve. The Tar Heels responding with a hard hit from Bridget Malone. And Mountaineers just moving very well. And another classic Bella Hutchins hit that bounces off. I believe it bounced off of one of the Tar Heels. If not, it went right between their legs to get right on the line for that point.
Absolutely great line ball. Just putting it right on the line, as you said.
Right on the line.
In between two defenders.
In between two defenders. Heidemann serving it for the Mountaineers. You can definitely see a bit of a rush from the Tar Heels right now as they try to hit it over. Elise Marshall just tipping the ball over. It seems that they called that as it was a Mountaineer ball, so there must have been some sort of error on the part of the Tar Heels, possibly a net violation.
Absolutely, it was a net violations right there. It looks like it was on number 5, Bridget Malone, who was a freshman, and her libero back there just encouraging her to say, hey, shake it off, you got it.
Heidemann serving it for the Mountaineers, and just tip over the net by Bella Hutchins to get that back over there. And a responding tip by number 2 Mackenzie Boyer for the Tar Heels, landing right into empty space.
And it is getting spicy too, because she knew that was going down. She was staring Bella Hutchins in the eye and motioned her fingers down, pointing down at the floor like, hey, that's down. You got no shot.
No shot.
So it's getting, the tension's there.
It really is. Boyer serving for the Tar Heels. The Mountaineers attempting to respond with their just traditional Bella Hutchins moment right there, but the Tar Heels defense was ready. The defense deflecting it back onto the Mountaineers side of the court, and the Mountaineers, there was a couple dig attempts there to try and get that ball, but they did not succeed. Boyer serving it straight into the net for the Tar Heels. It is these errors that is keeping the Mountaineers in the game right now. Not to discredit their absolutely amazing plays that they've had so far, but the Tar Heel errors are racking up.
Absolutely. These service errors, again, the irony of how great their service defense has been. Just for so many service errors, it essentially cancels out all their great service defense.
It really does. The Mountaineers coming back with Perkins serving the ball, going back and forth. Both teams really just struggling to get it over the net efficiently. The Mountaineers going for that classic Bella Hutchins moment, and another efficient deflection by the defense for the Tar Heels to get the Tar Heel point.
And we've been talking about the Mountaineers bench energy. However, the Chapel Hill bench right now, Chelsea Thorpe leading them right now, just kind of like putting the sword back in its, I don't want to say pocket, but I forget what that word is of where the sword goes.
The sheath.
Thank you.
Tar Heels serving, the Mountaineer response. It's going back and forth right now. Both teams trying to tip it over, getting those light, sneaky moves in there. Bella Hutchins going with her signature move at this point, and it succeeds this time, going out of bounds off the hands of the Tar Heel defense. So the score is 19-18 right now with the Tar Heel lead.
Sadie Swift originally came out and blocked Bella Hutchins. I also don't know how Bella Hutchins is still on the front floor.
I do not know.
I don't know. She's been on offense forever, and in volleyball you have to rotate every time you win off of an opponent's win, essentially. So if the Tar Heels win and then you win, you rotate a position, and I think it's clockwise. Yeah, I believe you rotate clockwise. And so I don't know how Bella Hutchins is still in the front, because I've seen Chapel Hill rotate through several defenders or several people on the front.
Yeah.
And Bella Hutchins is still in the front.
She's still there.
For the Mountaineers.
Still doing her signature move.
Exactly. And we've seen Sadie Swift came up and was like, all right, not today. I'm not letting Bella Hutchins do it. She blocked her once, and then Bella Hutchins just came back and just went right through Sadie Swift's block. Yeah. And was like, actually, take that, Miss Senior. I'm a sophomore, and I'm going to go right through it. So that's another little back and forth. We've seen Erin Curtis and Elise Marshall. Well, there's Sadie Swift and Bella Hutchins for you as well.
It really has. It's like Bella Hutchins' motto is if it doesn't succeed, try again. Because she does the same move every time. And while it definitely does not work all the time, she does it again, and it does. So it's just that continued effort to get those points, and it's paying off.
And it's awareness, too.
It is.
Of what we've seen out of Elise Marshall coming back. She hasn't had a very great day, but she's coming back, and she's not staying in her head for long periods of time. And also the leaders on this team right now, I have to commend Addison Heidemann and Kennedy Roper. Also Maya Winterhoff, not even on the floor, and she's making an impact from how much she's screaming. And so it's a great job seeing the leaders help out these younger classmen.
Akila Hardy serving for the Mountaineers. The very quick, aggressive response from the Tar Heels. Bella Hutchins goes for her signature move, and it doesn't work, but the Mountaineers scrambling to bring that ball up over the net, and it does not work. I'm not quite sure how that Tar Heel point happened there.
So Bella Hutchins, you're not allowed to cross that line underneath the net. And so Bella Hutchins actually stuck her head over because she went down to get the dig, and she did. But she said hello to, Sadie Swift
She's
over there.
Friendly.
And was like, hey, how's it going? You can't do that. That's not safe. That's more so a safety situation than it is anything else.
Bridget Malone serving it out of bounds for the Tar Heels. I know there was a dog pile there for that original Tar Heel point. Where Bella Hutchins stuck her head over. Elise Marshall serving it for the Mountaineers, and the Tar Heels hit it out of bounds. They couldn't set their feet, couldn't get the ball correctly moving, and they hit it out of bounds. It's now tied at 20 points.
And you know who that was too?
Who?
Aaron Curtis.
Aaron Curtis.
Going back and forth. I bet she'll go for it again.
It really is, yes. Yep. Serving it straight to Aaron Curtis. A gorgeous serve from Elise Marshall. A response over by Aaron Curtis. And again with the Bella Hutchins, just incredible aggressive hit over the net. And it works. The Mountaineers taking the lead now, 21-20.
These freshmen today from last year, they're sophomores now. They're grown up, I guess, from last season. Not I guess, they are grown up, all right? We'll say that. Are doing incredible. Okay, hold up. I'm going to gather my thoughts real quick for my spiel here while we are in timeout, since Chapel Hill just called timeout.
Yes.
So, they've done a great job at just really coming back from their mistakes, like I've said before, but are carrying this team. Bella Hutchins is having herself a day against an ACC team that was 5th in the ACC last year, 2nd to Pittsburgh, SMU. Those teams went to the semifinals and quarterfinals of the NCAA tournament, and Bella Hutchins is going through this block that has blocked some of the best hitters in the country.
Yeah.
Like it's nothing.
Like it's nothing.
Sadie Swift is someone she's going through. She's going through Chelsea Thorpe, which is another one. Who's another one? Who is it? Number 12, Lainey Smith, who has tried to block her.
Most definitely.
Nothing. And Bella Hutchins, she gets blocked, and she comes back, and she readjusts, and she puts the ball on the floor where it needs to go. And it is so impressive how she just continues to do this. And Addison Heidemann is doing a great job at working to her players' strengths right now. Someone who I really want to see get involved right now, Sierra Huntley. Let's get her going. She's a sophomore that I want to see on the floor, except for, of course, Ava Leahy just came in. So she's actually not on the floor anymore. But Ava Leahy, another young player who's a junior who I want to see get involved, get this middle blocker involved, and this game could go to 5 sets.
It most definitely could. Elise Marshall serving it. And the Tar Heels responding in a very aggressive light. They are not a fan of those Mountaineer wins right there, points right there. And so a nice hit over the net by number 12, Lainey Smith, for the Mountaineers, or for the Tar Heels, excuse me, to get that point. And Bollinger, the libero for the Tar Heels, taking the serve. Hits it over. I'm sure you can hear the Mountaineer fans getting very involved in this. The Mountaineers hit it back over the net. The Tar Heels respond. Very aggressive. The Mountaineers trying to keep the ball in play and just cannot, with multiple digs, and Elise Marshall even sliding halfway across the court in an attempt to try and get that ball.
Looked like it was even Izzy Perkins, and Kennedy Roper was there. She was there to help her out, but Izzy Perkins just like penguin dove right in front of her and was like, oh, okay, I'm going to trip, fall, so nothing you can really do there. That's not even miscommunication at that point. But
yeah, Bollinger serving it again with Izzy Perkins. It does look like some miscommunication, but when you have miscommunication, go for the Bella Hutchins special, and it worked again. That nice hit straight into open space on the court on the Tar Heel side will get them tied again. Both teams at 22.
Giving you a look at Izzy Perkins, too. She's got a bond with Bella Hutchins. They're laughing after that point, and they are hyped together.
Caroline Farthing taking the serve. The Tar Heels having that just incredible kill right there from number 2, Mackenzie Boyer.
Okay, I want to talk about the strength on her legs right there. She came into that set early, and Mackenzie Boyer sat in the air waiting on that ball from her setter. That is so impressive. She is so strong.
Lainey Smith serving it for the Tar Heels. The Mountaineers responding. And it seems like there was a block by the Tar Heels there that flew all the way to the other side of the court and went out of bounds for the Mountaineer.
Elise Marshall just worked off of Mackenzie Boyer's block right there. She was laughing after that from how well Elise Marshall worked off that block.
There you go.
Sent it all the way back, essentially to where we're sitting behind the floor.
Roper serving it for the Mountaineers, and the Tar Heels get it across. But they hit it out of bounds, it seems. It seems like it was close. There was almost a deflection there. But the Mountaineers now at match point, so it's 24-23. Roper serving it for the Mountaineers. Tar Heels going for a crazy hit from Aaron Curtis, and it goes out of bounds, so that is match for the Mountaineers. Both teams now winning 2 sets.
So impressive by the Mountaineers.
So we're going to the 5th set.
Guys, Nobody expected this.
No
out
one
of today.
expected
Not
this.
to mention to be able to come back from like down 2 sets, rally up. They final score 25-23 there. They went point for point against the Tar Heels there. So impressive. I don't know where Izzy Perkins is going right now. She is running off the floor into the locker room, but that was so impressive by the Mountaineers to show their endurance there against such a strong team. Like I said, Mackenzie Boyer sat in the air because
She
her
did.
vertical was so high.
Incredible. And she's 6'3", so that does help. I will mention with this incredibly tall Tar Heels team, like half of them are 6'3". I think that is true. But it's been aggressive on both sides. It has been an incredible game going through this with both sides having a lot of errors, but also a lot of success with moving the ball and getting it to the other side of the court.
Absolutely. Also want to go off your point there. Only 3 players below 6 foot on this team. 5 of them, 6'3". So
yeah. So just a really tall Tar Heel team, which you should expect from that level of volleyball. You're getting those recruits, getting the best of the best to some degree for that team, and it's really been a show for App State's just chemistry, I guess, and like teamwork on how well they've done against this Tar Heel team.
And that is a way that you combat these advanced teams. You're looking at a team that lost 5 graduates last year, whether they were in grad school or they were seniors. But this is a rebuilding Chapel Hill team, learning like who, not even these newcomers, because there aren't as many new recruits. They've got 4 transfers coming in that have experience. However, it's the fact that they're trying to find chemistry from a team last year that did so well and was successful in the ACC. And so now they're rebuilding, whereas you look at these Mountaineers, and they're not. They only lost a couple people.
They did.
They lost Lulu Ambrose, was a huge component to that. However, you look at Bella Hutchins from the outside today, and she's having a phenomenal day. Probably one of the best days of her career. And unfortunately, it's not being counted in statistics, which is so sad. However, it really is just incredible to see this team rally together right now.
It is, and this is such an exciting moment coming in. This is their first spring game, and if they're doing this well against this high-level team, we can only imagine what this upcoming volleyball season is going to be like. With how well they did last year and what they're showing today, it is going to be amazing to watch.
It does bump up the excitement for this team.
It does.
And if you want to check them out, they're going to be back in Holmes March 23rd. Playing against Wake Forest, so another big ACC team.
Another one.
Not as successful in the ACC as Chapel Hill. However, definitely a must-see if you want to come watch these App State Mountaineers in person, as this isn't streamed on ESPN or anything right now. So unless you want to listen to WASU,
which you always should. You always should.
Which, and if anything, what you can do with WASU is you can sit in the stands, put your earbud in, and actually listen to us call the game. If you want to know more about the other team and all of our insight that we do as before we research these games, that would be my #1, like, kind of
get the double experience.
Promotion. Absolutely.
There you go.
How I would watch one of these volleyball games. I believe we're going to have our very own, potentially Jordan Luker, on that game.
Jordan Luker?
The volleyball man
Shout
himself at the WASU studio. So something to look forward to as we're kind of going into set 5, because we're going to set 5 with the Tar Heels right now. Come on,
incredible.
People.
Absolutely
you don't
incredible.
Want to miss this. So you had your chance now to like go to the bathroom, grab some popcorn, because now it's time to lock in, because this is some amazing volleyball that Ruby Leggat is walking us through right now.
I know. We're coming back into this 5th set right here. We're starting off. Mountaineers have the ball. Izzy Perkins, our resident freshie, serving it over. The Tar Heels responding, and an incredible block by the Mountaineer defense. The Tar Heels get it back over the net, and then just a gorgeous kill by Maya Winterhoff. The energy for the Mountaineers right now, you can tell just how excited they are to even be in the 5th set against this team as they take the lead.
And you know Noble wants to win too. She put Maya Winterhoff back in. She said,
most definitely.
Knock
Izzy
on
Perkins serving it again. I know. Everyone knock on wood right now. As we say that, the Tar Heels do get a point as they hit it over, and it seems like it was just tipped by a Mountaineer player. So they are tied, 1-1.
And that was Bridget Malone on the kill right there, who also goes back for serve right now. But coming in from high school, and she is a true freshman on this Chapel Hill team today who's shown success today.
Very much so. She serves it over, and Izzy Perkins gets her hands under it, but they're just not tilted the right way, and it goes out of bounds. So the Tar Heels getting the early lead, 2-1 right now, with Malone back up at the serve, and she's been an incredible key player to this team right now. For being a true freshman coming into this. Izzy Perkins getting the reception off of Malone's hit, and just a gorgeous kill over the net by Elise Marshall to tie up the game.
And what a time for Marshall to kind of get her rhythm back after not seeing much of her in the fourth. Great hard cross, landing just past the 10-foot line, beating any Chapel Hill defender to even get a chance of getting there.
Maya Winterhoff taking the serve for the Mountaineers. Up, and Malone receiving that as they get it back over. A very strong kill by Sophie Hampton for the Tar Heels. Gives them the lead again. But it's close. Both teams coming into this very aggressive, and you can tell they both really want to win.
Both teams do. Both great plays systematically on both sides. Elise Marshall with that great hit on right side, and then outside Sophie Hampton doing a great job at working against this Mountaineer defense.
Bollinger serving it over with some extra noise from the crowd, trying to distract her. A nice block from the Tar Heel defense, but a responding hit by Bella Hutchins. The Tar Heels get it back in as it went slightly out of bounds in the reception, and then just a amazing kill by Ava Leahy.
You've got your starting middle blockers in right now, and Ava Leahy and Maya Winterhoff and Sierra Huntley have all been trading off. Just everyone getting reps here, as Sierra Huntley doesn't see a lot of action sometimes, so it's great to see Ava Leahy, maybe be a little cold and come off with some heat.
Elise Marshall serving it for the Mountaineers. Gets over a trick play there by the Tar Heels, trying to mess up, and then Bella Hutchins responding with a tip over. Both teams blocking very well right now, but the Tar Heels will get that point as they tip it back over, and it goes off of the stomach, I believe, of Ava Leahy.
And great defense and just blocking by Mackenzie Boyer and Chelsea Thorpe there, who's back to serve now. But also Kennedy Roper was there with a lot of digs. Yeah,
Thorpe serving for the Tar Heels. The Mountaineers struggling a bit to get it over the net, and Bella Hutchins doing one of her signature incredible hits over, but it does go out of bounds.
Just looking for those high hands, and it just wasn't there, and that's something that Chapel Hill's smart in adjusting to. If Bella Hutchins doesn't get going in this fifth set, it's a lot easier of a set for Chapel Hill to win.
It really is. They're leading right now 5-3 as Thorpe serves it out of bounds.
The Mountaineers just got a huge win right there because the Tar Heels were building momentum.
Grayson losing her words from how exciting that play was. Caroline Farthing serving it for the Mountaineers. Chapel Hill going over. They're trying to get that signature hit from Sophie Hampton like one we see from Bella Hutchins, but it does not work. You have Elise Marshall, and I believe that was Ava Leahy up there for the Mountaineers to get that block and get that point for the Mountaineers, who are now both teams tied at 5.
Yes, ma'am, it was. She had 100 blocks last year.
Caroline Farthing serving it for the Mountaineers, and they go for it again. The same Sophie Hampton, just strong hit like we see from Bella Hutchins over the net, and they do get the point that time. So the Tar Heels leading 6-5.
Yeah, and the crowd's been picking on Chapel Hill for getting tooled all afternoon, but Chapel Hill players just went back and said, hey, we can do it too.
We can. Hampton serving it for the Tar Heels, and just a tip over the net by Addison Heidemann for the Mountaineers, and they get it and empty a hole right in the center of the Tar Heel side of the court, and she tips it right there.
Just do it yourself, girl. Go crazy.
Do it yourself.
Great setter dump right into the middle of the floor. Chapel Hill wasn't ready for it.
Roper serving for the Mountaineers, and they get it. Both teams very excited right now. You can tell just a lot of energy, and they get a nice hit over by Bridget Malone for the Tar Heels, and Roper attempts to dig to get that and just cannot.
And one thing I'm concerned about for the Mountaineers right now is they're playing great and they have momentum, but they are 1 point behind the Tar Heels at the moment.
They are. It's back and forth right now with the score. The Tar Heels The Tar Heels serving and the Mountaineers get it back over the net, and fumbling plays by multiple Tar Heels right there, a lot trying to go for the ball, and they hit it out of bounds. So we're tied again.
So something I want to see for the Mountaineers right now, Heidemann's back to serve, but capitalize on this service right now, as we've got some sweat and water on the floor at the moment. But I want to see the Mountaineers capitalize on this, not let the Tar Heels get another point lead and then just always be playing from behind. Mentally, that's a lot harder to do than if you're playing back and forth and have that point advantage.
Most definitely. Heidemann taking the serve right now. A slight break there to get some sweat off the court for the Mountaineers. Tar Heels responding very quickly with a nice hit over by Bridget Malone, but it seems there was a net violation or a line violation by the Mountaineers there.
Yeah, you just can't bring your foot too far over. That's just a hazard to the Chapel Hill players. And if they come down on your foot, they can easily roll their ankle and everything. So just, it's a good rule.
Serve by Barrett for the Tar Heels. Bella Hutchins just knock over with her fist over there. And the Tar Heels respond with a hard hit, which Maya Winterhoff deflects out of bounds. So the Tar Heels are going to be 2 points up right now, 9-7, as the Mountaineers, I believe, are calling a timeout.
And Chelsea Thorpe, great job there, working off the high hands of the block. And that's something that you're going to have to watch with these Tar Heels.
It is.
They're going to outsmart you to an extent just from the experience that they have, and the Mountaineers have to let them do that and be able to bounce back and play their own game. And that's been a huge thing for both of these teams, as it got a little crazy at the end of the third set just a while back.
It did. There's a lot of energy from both teams. It's a very competitive game right now, and it's going back and forth, and it's back and forth with errors as well as really good plays from both sides. So you never know what to expect watching this and watching the points fluctuate.
Absolutely. At this point, you would think that something App State would be struggling with is their endurance. However, they proved that that's not a problem to them right now.
Definitely.
Knock on wood, at least.
Yeah.
And they've been able to rally back and play point for point with Chapel Hill so far in this game. And I think it'll be interesting, especially coming out of this timeout, as the Tar Heels have 2 more and the Mountaineers have 1. What tempo are they playing at? Are they staying in their own game? Because the Tar Heels are going to do their thing, and the Mountaineers have to be willing to just adjust to their own game here. And that's huge in the 5th set when you're not working on a ton of energy as you were in the 1st set.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I think a lot of the momentum right now, from what I can see, is coming from this great Mountaineer fan base that's actually showed up. There's this cluster
100%.
of students right in the front of the bleachers watching, and they're chanting. They're doing the classic lots of noise during the Tar Heel serves and stuff like that to give the Mountaineers just some extra support going into this 5th set.
For sure.
Barrett taking the serve for the Tar Heels as we come back in to the 5th set. The Tar Heels leading 9-7.
Looks like Coach Shaw actually told them to adjust the scoreboard, as they never added that 9th point.
Barrenhart serves it. Mountaineers going for that Bella Hutchins classic move, and it works, going off the hands of the defenders right to their feet. So it does not go to the Mountaineers side of the net, and so that will be a point for the Mountaineers.
And that block might have just been a block that Chapel Hill's been doing all day, but that was a little soul-crushing. It took the energy out of this environment just a little bit. And so now Izzy Perkins got to really try and rally this team right now with the serve.
Over the net, and it was a nice low serve, a response by Bridget Malone, just a really, really hard hit that, when deflected by the Mountaineer players, went essentially a mile, and the Mountaineer players could not reach it to keep it in play. With the Tar Heels leading 10-8 right now.
A little bit of miscommunication. Okay, there we go. Looks like the umpire was just talking with Maya Winterhoff.
Bridget Malone serving for the Tar Heels. It goes off. That was a strong serve, you can see from the reception from the Mountaineers. The ball going really high all over the place as they hit it over. And then just responding, very hard hit from Chelsea Thorpe, but the Mountaineers do recover and get it over. A tip over. A tip over by Safi Hampton is saved by a nice dig from, I believe, and I could have been wrong, Izzy Perkins, and it just goes just over the net to hit the side of the Tar Heels, which gives the Mountaineers that point.
Okay, well, there were 2 digs there. Izzy Perkins did the splits on a dig to get that one up, but then it was Addison Heidemann's dig that just barely rolled over, and Chapel Hill didn't think it was going to go over, and so App State got the point.
Maya Winterhoff serving. The Mountaineers currently behind 10-9. And as they serve, a responding kill over the net by Sophie Hampton. She was not happy that they blocked her hits in that last point, so she got her point this time.
Absolutely. Sophie Hampton, a true just spotlight or just point of brightness and positivity for this Tar Heels team, as she has had a great day, equivalent to almost Bella Hutchins on the other side.
Bollinger serving it for the Tar Heels. A tip over the net by number 7, Ava Leahy, for the Mountaineers, but it does not succeed. The Tar Heels fighting to get it over, in a block by the Mountaineer defense gets the Tar Heels just off balance enough that they cannot recover the ball.
Absolutely. I think we're having some troubles with the score table over here.
I think we are.
I think they're behind by 2 points a little bit, but it is.
It's going.
Yeah.
Elise Marshall serving for the Mountaineers. The scoreboard right now says that the Tar Heels are leading 11-10. We are not sure if that's 100% correct, but a nice hit over by Bella Hutchins goes out of bounds.
Ooh.
Is what it seems. The Mountaineers are not happy about that call.
They're challenging a touch at the moment. However, no replay, and Chapel Hill's also kind of suffered from the Mountaineers getting a lot of momentum on close calls like that. So I guess it just unfortunate time for it, but it's just sort of how it is right now.
It definitely is. Chelsea Thorpe serving for the Tar Heels, excuse me. They get it over. The Mountaineers hit it back over. And there seems to be some discussion on whose point that was, but it seems the Mountaineers may have hit it out of bounds.
It was just 2 very close calls there. Looks like Coach Noble's talking with the down ref at the moment, just talking about that play. Looks like she's just going to call a timeout. So there is no just delay of game penalty right here on the Mountaineers, because those were 2 close calls and there's no replay. So you do just kind of have to live with it, unfortunately. And Coach Noble's gritting her teeth right now, like, oh, and like those are 2 that you really wish you could challenge. However, nothing much you can do.
There's not. Spring games, while very beneficial to the teams, do have their downsides, and this is definitely one of them, especially because the Tar Heels are leading 13-10 right now, so those 2 points are absolutely critical. And if the Mountaineers had got them, they would be leading right now. So very, very just hard to see, and especially for the coach and the team on those very close calls.
Absolutely, and both teams right now, as we look at them in the huddles, as we've seen them all dancing around, having a fun time, they're locked in right now. Even Chapel Hill trying to find a way to secure this win right now, as they are not on the floor, whereas we've seen them leave the huddle early. They are talking through these next 2 plays. If they can run these next 2 plays efficiently, they win the game. Whereas the Mountaineers over here are thinking, okay, how can our defense hold up and so we can run our game and run the plays that we want to run?
Most definitely, yeah. The confidence of the Tar Heels definitely shaken by that last set win by the Mountaineers. They, I'm assuming, came in here with the confidence that they were going to win in 3 to 4 sets and get out of here. But that is not what happened. The Mountaineers have definitely shown up, and it's rattled the Tar Heels.
Chelsea Thorpe's back to serve right now. We've seen a couple service errors out of her late in this game, so interested to see how she performs.
Thorpe gets it over the net. It's received by Izzy Perkins for the Mountaineers. We get a nice hit over the net by Ava Leahy for the Mountaineers, and it's tipped off the Tar Heel player to go out of bounds.
And that slide attack was what caused that controversial timeout or controversial decision with the Mountaineers. So it is exciting to see that they were able just to run the same exact play coming out and throw the Tar Heels off guard and get the point.
Caroline Farthing serving it for the Mountaineers as they get it over. A really hard hit by Sophie Hampton, trying to do that play that has succeeded for them multiple times, but she hits it out of bounds. The Tar Heels now only leading by 1 point.
And it's crazy in volleyball how quickly it can switch. You had a comfortable 3-point lead coming out of the timeout, and then boom, it's gone.
Farthing serving it for the Mountaineers. Gets it over the net. The Tar Heels trying to move quickly to get that point, and they do. A tip over the net by Sophie Hampton, and the Mountaineers just cannot respond to it quick enough.
And almost like a breath of relief that Sophie Hampton's moving to the back row now behind the service line. However, it is match point.
Sophie Hampton served it over the net. A tip over by the Mountaineers is responded to, and the Tar Heels get a clutch kill down to the Mountaineers side of the court, and the Tar Heels will take the win today.
Just a great play right there by Mackenzie Boyer, showing her athleticism and her vertical, really taking advantage and just going up and just beating Caroline Farthing to the ball, which she spiked it really down the middle of the floor, but just to Caroline Farthing's left, and she wasn't able to get her feet set there in time. But a great game today.
Amazing
really,
game.
What a great way to see how the Mountaineers just were going to come out and just to see what they've been working on in the offseason with 3 of their players still injured.
Yes. It definitely isn't like this is, I think, a game the Mountaineers should be very proud of because it's hard to get to the 5th set with a team of the level of Chapel Hill. And so coming in spring, you have somewhat of a new team, new leaders to some degree is definitely, and coming in and being able to do that. And even within the 5th set, only losing the 5th set by 3 points is extremely impressive.
Absolutely. And someone that I really am giving a ton of credit to is today, if you missed Bella Hutchins.
Definitely.
Oh my gosh, what a game she had to rally this team to get to the 5th set. She didn't get a lot of touches in the 5th set, which I think Chapel Hill did a great job at taking Bella Hutchins out of the game with their aggressive attacks. And they made Ava Leahy come into the game and even Elise Marshall there. So I think great awareness by Chapel Hill to adjust to that, but what a game by Bella Hutchins rallying them to the 5th set. And then Sophie Hampton showed her strengths there in the 5th set and really kind of brought home the win for the Tar Heels. So 2 amazing outsides today to really give a lot of credit to.
Most definitely. And if you would like to listen to more of this App State Volleyball, which their spring season, which obviously in our opinion, everyone should listen to more of it, we'll have another game on March 23rd. And I believe that's a Jordan Luker Will Battershell game?
Maybe? Or Jacob Pearsall
or
might
Jacob.
Be there. Actually, I think it's Jacob Pearsall.
Jacob Pearsall.
It'll be 2 of the 3.
It will be 2 of the 3, and it will be a great broadcast. We can most definitely tell you that ahead of time. So if you would like to hear more App State women's spring volleyball, I definitely think you should tune in on March 23rd for our game against Wake Forest.
Also, come show up. Build out
Please,
this crowd. This
yes.
crowd was a great influence today and rallying this team to battle against a Chapel Hill team and, a good little North Carolina rivalry a little bit. Just 2 big schools and North Carolina, I guess. Yeah.
A good game.
And it was fun to see it get a little chippy there at one point.
Most definitely. Thank you so much for listening to us in the Holmes Convocation Center. We're going to end this stream now. But again, tune in on March 20th.